Welcome everybody to the Social Dig, the greatest underrated show on the World Wide Web. I am your host, Mr. Rob G, and as always, we're going to be digging into the topics that keep you talking and the talk that keeps you thinking. So come on in, kick your feet up, get comfortable, get an ice cold beverage or warm beverage. Just get ready to join the conversation. We had an awesome show last night, the call-in show. This is the late night call-in show. We do this every night after the after hours. And there goes a caller right there. So caller.
Call from
Area 51.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
All right, we're letting Juan in the door right now. Juan, I'm going ahead doing the intro here. So I just want to appreciate everybody for coming in. Definitely thank you for joining us. Like I said, we had an awesome conversation last night. We had Jim come through and bless us with just some great conversation. If you weren't here for that, definitely go back and check that out. Also, I want to go ahead and thank Magneticus for hopping on stage on the second half of the show. We closed it out, did a fantastic job there, Magneticus. Appreciate you coming in. And let me go ahead and go through the chat real quick and just welcome everybody that decided to come on over and join the conversation tonight. And hopefully, I already know what Juan's going to say. He's going to say jump in the chat. He's going to say jump on the phone. He's going to say jump on stage. So I'm going to say it before Juan says it, but Area 51 is the first man in through the door. So thank you, Juan. We got Susie B coming in second. We got Jessica S coming in third. We have Maggie M10, thank you for coming in. We have D Worm, appreciate you coming in. Oregon Viking 86, thank you for coming in. Tom Altman, hey guys, who's calling in? Thank you for coming in. That's a great question. And let's see, what do we have? Magneticus, I just saw your name here. Simon the Likeable, thank you for coming in. Appreciate you. I know it feels like deja vu. Lovely peeps, that's right. Lovey love, thank you for coming in. Once again, Magneticus, Attractus, thank you. We got Ange, hey y'all again. Thanks for coming in. Let's see. Let's keep going down the list here. Christine, thank you for coming in. Appreciate you. Okay, it's like pretty much to the bottom here. Brown Dwarf, thank you for coming in, Brown Dwarf. Yeah. Okay. There we go. Looks good. Yeah, Christine says I like the music here. Yeah, appreciate you. This is how we bring in the Social Dig and how we take it out all the time. All right. Okay, so yes, we do have Area 51 in the building. He did call in here. He's first online. What's going on, Juan?
How's it going, man? Great show tonight.
Good. Oh, wow. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. It was spur of the moment. We had a guest, set up, medium Valentina Marie, and something happened. Something came up. She had to cancel earlier today. And Travis was gracious enough to go ahead and step in, and he killed it. I loved it, and so glad that he did. It was a great show, and he gave some great information.
Yeah, no, great. Yeah, that's awesome because I've seen Travis before on I think Jessica did like interviews with him, like a couple of them. So yeah, he's a great guy.
He is. He really is. And, I'm glad that, he had the whole, he's tied in with this elders and, he seeks to pick up knowledge. And I really do like that about him. And, yeah, thank you, Mike Bothwell. Great show tonight, bro. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. We did that kind of on the fly, man. So, it was as good as it could be with the circumstances. I'll say that. I'm sort of like I'm my biggest critic, right? So, when I'm doing a show, if I feel like something didn't happen the way that I wanted it to, it kind of eats on me until I watch it. And then usually when I watch, I'm like, oh, okay, it wasn't as bad as I thought. So, but I do appreciate that. And Simon says, right? Simon the Likeable says, where are you based at? Would you mention the story for newbies like me? Sure. Yeah. I'm from Sacramento, California, on the west coast of the United States. Currently, I'm down in Southern California in Bakersfield, is where we decided to buy a house out here, right? This is the last, truthfully, if you're from California, the how expensive it's crazy expensive. So yeah, this is like one of the last frontiers, truthfully. And even though a lot of people say stuff about Bakersfield, I'll say this: it's not for kids. It's not for you're in your 20s, or it's not the place for you. If you're a little older than that, then it's definitely a different place. You know what I mean? So it is definitely not a bad place. But yeah, so a little backstory real quick. Simon's new, so backstory is I've all my life I've been pretty much a musician, right? So I consider myself like a full-time musician. I did it professionally for about 15 years, and I kind of, I'm a creative all around, right? So I write music, produce music, I perform music, and that kind of led me down a path where I'm always trying to create. I'm always looking to create, and doing the show wasn't necessarily part of the plan, truthfully. I just got to a point in my life where, I asked myself a question. I said, what could I do? And I wanted to pick something. So I was like, what could I do to help further humanity? Like, what can I do to help benefit humanity? Was the question I asked myself. And I had a lot of just normal, regular responses. So I was considering things like, maybe go teach some school kids, right? Like, teach some of the young minds, help mold some of the young minds that would be, the ones inheriting this earth, right? So that was one of the first things I thought of. But then pretty quickly, I thought about, hey, you know what? I don't know how I would deal with a bunch of bad kids, right? So I kind of skipped over that one, though that was the first thing I came up with, and I kind of just let it play. So I got to a point in my life where I stopped making decisions on my own, as far as I pretty much opened myself up and let God direct the path, right? And I don't really talk about religion in here, but I'll just say God, or a higher power, or the creator, however you want to look at it. So I just kind of opened myself up to that. And I'll tell you, my grandmother, who was, I was her favorite grandchild, and she used to take me everywhere, right? And she took me to church all the time. And there was one day that I needed to go into Bible study, because they separate the kids from the adults, and you have to go over to Bible study. So there was a day that we went where they wanted us. I was probably fifth, sixth grade at the time. They wanted us to kind of go over some of the scriptures, right, in the Bible. Just, I guess you had to have your own, or you had to know something about one, right? So I go to my grandmother. I'm like, hey, they want me to, stand up in here, and I'm going to have to know scripture. And I was, I wasn't following it in that way, so I didn't really have one, right? So she gave me one. I asked her for, give me one, and she gave me one, which was, Proverbs. oh my gosh, I'm going to mess it up right now. It's Proverbs 3, maybe 5 through 7. Okay, well, I'll tell you what it said, the scripture. So it was trust in the Lord with all thine heart, lean not to thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. That was as a kid. So when I was at this point in my older life, when I'm sitting here deciding what I'm going to do to help humanity, then I thought back to that scripture that my grandmother gave me. And I decided at that point, you know what, I'm going to stop making conscious decisions on what I should be doing. And I'm just going to kind of open myself up and allow myself to be directed into where I'm supposed to be. And I swear to you, it all started with, this camera I'm using, for instance. I bought this at the time that I made that decision because I was like, maybe, maybe I'll do vlogging because I like to travel. So I was like, maybe I'll do vlogging. Never ended up using the camera, right? And had it sitting for maybe 5 years. And then one day when I moved here to Bakersfield, I happened to go to Walmart. And if you're familiar with Walmart or pretty much any big box store like that, usually when you go to the front door, you're usually rushed by petitioners or just people handing out things of that nature, right? So, and I usually like to avoid that because I hate having to tell people, no, thank you, and kind of going through that whole thing. So this particular day, I didn't see anybody in front, and I had an actual parking spot real close to the front door. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go now. I'm going to go in here, get what I need to get, and I'm going to leave. So as I got out the car, it was nighttime, and I walked, literally the front door is maybe 20, 30 feet from the car, literally. So I get out the car, and I'm beelining it for the front door. And before I got to the front door, I get intercepted by these two guys. These two guys literally swooped out of nowhere. Literally, there's no one out there. And on my way into the store, I literally from both sides got swooped on by these two guys who were together. It was a black guy and a Hispanic guy. And they started talking to me about a church that they have here in Bakersfield, and I just felt so weird about what was going on because they weren't there. They weren't there, and there was no one in front. And my whole purpose was to get in without having to speak to anyone, right? So they talked to me, and I just was so shocked by what was going on that I sat and listened to them. And I was like, okay, I listened to the whole spiel that they gave, and I kind of let them know in the moment. I'm like, man, it's crazy that all this is happening right now because there were some things that were going on in my life at the time where this was like, wow, that this happened like in this way. So I kind of acknowledged that. So I go in the store afterwards, and then, I was literally in the store 5 minutes or less. I go get what I'm going to get. I'm coming on my way back out. And I see the same two guys walking in the store as I'm leaving out. So we see each other again. So I see them when I walked in, and then these guys were walking in the store as I was leaving out. So I thought that was crazy. But from that moment forward, doors literally started opening up for me. Like my position in what I was supposed to be doing, because I opened myself up, I stopped making the conscious decision on what I should be doing and allow myself to be directed. And literally from that day forward, a series of doors opened up, one after the other, just perfect time and position and placing that opened up, leading up literally to doing SOR after hours. Like all the stars aligned for that to happen at the time that it did. And, that's the story to this day. And technically, I'm still on that mission as we speak. So that's my story. That's how I got to where I'm at right here, right now. Now, it wasn't ever a conscious decision to do what I'm doing. I literally just let myself go and allowed myself to be directed, and I would just follow the path that I'm being led on, and literally has led me to where we're sitting at today. So that's my story, man. It's kind of wild, when I think about it, because there has never been a time in life where, at least in my life, and where you have good luck at sometimes. Sometimes you have a string of good luck, if you want to call it that. But there has never been a time where I have seen so many consecutive doors in what you would call potentially blessings, come back to back to back. We're talking about 6, 7, 8 times. It was scary. It was to a point to where I talked to my girl during all this, as within the last 2 years, as leading up to now. And I would tell her, like, can you believe this? Like, this is wild. Like, what's happening here? Like, this, you get to a point in your life, or a situation where a situation could be either good or it could be bad. Sometimes, and then when you go through those, sometimes you experience the bad. Like, yeah, it could have went good, but it went bad, and that's where people are like, oh, it seems like I have bad luck. Well, in those moments, it was always the good side, and it every single time, and it was scary, really. How many times that happened in a row. I want to say 6, 7, 8, 9, probably close to 10 times in a row, where I just couldn't believe how it landed on that side. And it was just, it let me know that that scripture that she gave me is a true scripture, and regardless who you believe is the one that directs your path is directed, is being directed, especially if you open yourself up, to being, and the key is putting positive energy out there, right? So, because I believe in the energy you put out there is the energy that you get back. And being a positive person, and, like a pro-humanitarian type of person, I think allowed me to to receive that good energy throughout that time. And like I said, that's why I am how I am today. And everything's about putting positive energy out there. That's what this channel is about, and progressing humanity. So it's crazy, man. Even when I sit here and think and talk about it now, because I don't, I'm doing this stuff day to day, to week, these shows and stuff. But when I sit back and think about the story I'm telling right now, every time I think about it, it's shocking and amazing to me. And I'm technically still on that path right now, man. It's crazy. You ever experienced anything like that, Juan?
Yeah, no, I'm intrigued by what you're talking about right now, because I completely agree with you, and the work that you put in. I think I was telling Dave Scott, you guys are really bringing in a lot of great content, and I go, that's amazing, because sometimes you feel like people get stale, and yeah, I think you guys are doing an amazing job.
Appreciate it, man. Like I says, I'm just on a ride,
today,
man.
Too, just even today with I wasn't even expecting Travis to be on the show, and when I saw that, I was like, oh, it's gonna be a great show. I don't know if you knew him beforehand, but he's a great person too.
Yeah, he really is, man. And no, I didn't. And then once again, right? Those are the doors that I'm talking about, right? So,
right.
Like he wasn't on the roster, he wasn't on the rotation, and that door opened up literally earlier today for that meeting to happen, right? And that's how I feel about it. Dave Scott, you guys, truthfully, are part of that same thing too. the people that I'm meeting here, you, Juan, you,
Yeah.
Magneticus, all these people that end up being, special. And that's why when you say one, oh man, you get to a point where you're too big and none of that. Never, never, because you guys are part of that journey that I'm on. It's crazy, man. It's crazy because I've never been a person to kind of, even, you know, I just, for something like this to happen the way I'm explaining it, before this started to happen, earlier part of my life, I didn't believe that, us you could string it up that way. I didn't believe, but it's weird actually going through it. So, but I know that with that path that I'm on, every door that opens and the people that I meet, it's all part of that special thing, man. So that's everybody involved. Everybody shows up here, right? These are chance
Yeah.
meetings. These are chance meetings that, if the stars weren't aligned and I wasn't on Spaced Out Radio, then a lot of us probably don't meet, right? Probably don't
Right.
don't get to
Right.
come over here and have these conversations like we're doing. So these are all chance things that we're being directed. And we talked before about all the like-minded people in the chat. And that's a perfect example, right? Because there are a lot of people in the chat that think the same way and have been brought together by some sort of right, by whatever you want to call it. You call it
Yeah.
the creator, you call it whatever you suits you. But the fact is that something unspoken and something mysterious and the energy has brought everybody together on and open, and those doors have opened for everyone. Not just I'm just a person that had kind of in the moment kind of saw, like, stepped out of my body almost and kind of looked at what was happening and was really like shocked as I'm going on the path. But it would
Hmm.
appear that everybody else is on that same path too, because that's how we
Right.
all end up getting together and meeting together.
Yeah, and that's it's so weird to me sometimes how we all meet each other. Because you were just explaining the story about how you got into, I don't want to say religion, but believing in God, and then all these doors opening for you just from meeting some people that you just happen to cross paths with, and that's how I feel about everyone here. I mean, I don't know. It's always shocking to me when I talk to people because they have a lot of similarities to the way that I live and the way that I've had experiences, and just the stories that they tell. And I mean, I see Monica. She's on. I don't want to put her on the spot, but I see Monica, and Monica and me connected because we dream of whales.
Because you dream of whales.
Whales, yeah, like, yeah, whales.
Okay.
So it's yeah. See, me and her and a lot of other people that I've actually met have had these similar experiences in either dreaming or they think about whales, and it's weird. Like how we all just connected through that.
Well, as I'm eating my big ass grapes, shout out to the big
Yeah.
ass grapes.
Yeah, Tim Mothman, Monica. You want me to say it the right way?
Monica, it's Monica.
Monica. Mhm. Like the movie Whale? Oh no, I watched that the other day. Actually, that was a sad movie.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, it's whether it's whales, whether if you really sit back and some, like I say, if you really sit back and then think about, just go back a few years and think about the different things that happened that led you, like, okay, for instance, I didn't move to this place. I was going to move, but I didn't move. And because I stayed here, I met this person. And because I
Mhm.
met that person introduced me to this certain thing that I would have never, come across unless this person didn't show me that. And then when I went to that thing, I ended up getting interested in this particular subject. And because I was interested in that subject, I looked into this and found this thing, and just the string that led you to where you are now. If you go back and look back a few years to think about the key things, that if that one thing would have been different, would have changed everything, your whole trajectory on where you were going and who you were going to meet. And it's once you start thinking about that, then it kind of unfolds on you, and you kind of was like, wow, okay, that one thing that I decided to do 5 years ago actually is a key reason why I'm where I'm at today, or where I'm meeting the people that I'm meeting today. And it's bananas. It's bananas when you think about it, because any of those choices could have been different. You could have made a different choice and not ended up at that place and it could have been just as good, but in a different place. But, it's just thinking about those key moments in the last 5 years of your life that led you to a particular place. It is kind of powerful when you think about it, because you really realize that it was a small thing. If you were 5 minutes later that day, then that person you met wouldn't have been there. And you would have never met that person, which means you would have never got introduced to this thing over here. And you think about that, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, even if it's not just 5 minutes, it could just be seconds.
Yes, literally.
It could just literally be. You can just miss them by a blink of an eye, and who knows.
Exactly. That's pretty powerful, man.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I like that story, because I've heard you. I know we've talked before, and you told me about that, and I go, wow, like it's just amazing, how that opens opportunities for yourself, and I think we're all I'm proud of you, because like,
appreciate it.
I remember seeing you on SOR before you were part of the SOR team, and I was already subscribed to you, and it was just. That's awesome that they brought you on.
Yeah, and it was crazy, right? Because once again, it wasn't like a position I applied for. They saw what they liked in me and asked me, and of course I was like, yeah. But the thing is that that path that led me up to that point had me in a position where I was visible by Spaced Out Radio in order for them to even consider, right? So it's just one of those things. And like I said, I feel like, I know for sure that I'm still riding that wave. And really the key that all I'm doing is allowing, my path to be directed instead of making a conscious decision. Because, and when I say that, it's not really probably the rule that you should just do that. But if it feels right, then that's kind of what you do. Because, sometimes you can do what's called overthinking something. And, when you leave it up to your mind to make the decision, sometimes depending on what the influence is at the time, your mind may make the wrong decision, and then you end up regretting it, right? But if you allow yourself to be directed, then you're allowing that higher power to kind of guide you on that, whatever path it may be. And like I say, I've never been a super, and I'll preface this by saying I grew up going to church, right? And I do believe in a higher creator, a higher, person. But I don't, I wouldn't ever consider myself like super religious in any way. Excuse me. So that's why when I talk about this here, there's a lot of elements that tie into a spiritual something. But, I think it's more, and that's why at the end of the day, like this space here, regardless on what you believe in or what religious background you have, it really doesn't matter, because I think one thing that everybody can agree on, especially people that are religious, can agree on, is there is something bigger than us, and
No.
that people may look to as a creator. Some people call it God, some people call it Buddha, some people call it a million different things. But I think at the end of the day, the commonality that we can all agree on is there's something out there that's bigger than we are.
Mhm. I agree. I agree, and I've never been, growing up very conservative and with a family that's very religious. I've never shut it out. It's just been not my thing to where I have to practice it. And my family, my mom, my stepdad, my sister, they've changed religions. Whew, I don't even know how many times. At this point, I'm like, you guys are going to start praying to carpets at this point.
Right. Right.
And I say it as a joke, and I always make jokes. I hope that no one in the chat or people who know me, like, I do take everything seriously, even the paranormal, the UFOs and everything. But my way of dealing with it is by joking around, because I don't want anyone to think, to be afraid of these things
Yeah.
or these experiences that we have. So yeah, my way around it is humor, but I really do believe in all this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that's why we're all here, because we believe that there's something going on. There's something strange out there that we don't understand, and that ties into everything. So it ties into, and that's why the question comes up with this whole UFO thing when it comes to
Hmm.
religion, if how religions will be affected and things of that nature. But I think it's, I think when I don't think there's really a big separation there between, religion and then,
No,
accepting these things that are coming from
right.
outside.
The heavens. I mean,
Yeah,
technically,
there you go. Yeah,
technically the heavens, because the Bible talks about it. It's not like it doesn't shy away from it. Um, I don't think it would change anything. I think it would just change what people are taught. And I think sometimes they're taught the wrong way, and that's the reason why when it comes to like the Bible and those teachings, I'm only focusing on that as an example, but they're taught the wrong way, and sometimes, like, I don't know, you can read the Bible for yourself, and they talk about um, balls of fire in the sky. And they just use different terminology, and I just think a lot of it is practice and truth at the same time. I mean, I don't hesitate from learning from it. I've learned a lot from just reading it.
right. And another thing, that's why it's one of the things they say, don't get into religion, politics, and the reason is because some people are so deeply rooted into a particular religion, when I, and I don't even know if I should say this, but the way that I just think, here's what I'll say. I'll say, I think the important part of it all is just acknowledging that there's a creator out there. I think everything
Yeah.
else you can kind of, believe what you want to believe, which whatever parts of the Bible you say you want to believe are real. Okay, fine. It's not what we're here to debate. It's just the fact that the common thing is that there's some sort of creator, and then just to use the one little Bible quote, which was like the God created the the earth and what do you say? Everything under the heavens or something along those lines. I know I got it all wrong, but essentially that's what
He's
they're
like, he
saying.
created it in 6 days, and then on the seventh day he rested.
Uh,
That's
according,
like the only thing I remember.
he said created earth,
the
the
heavens
heavens,
and yeah,
everything under the heavens, or something like that.
yeah,
So essentially saying that everything out there is tied to some sort of something that created it all. And I agree with that. I mean, and we could leave it there. The conversation could stop there because I think when you get into details of books and things of that nature, and I think that's where you start losing the main message of this all, which is that something which goes right into the whole mystery of the universe, just period, outside of religion, just what scientists are trying to figure out, like how do we get here and what started it all. I mean, it's part of that whole big question, but that's why when you get into religion or when conversations get had about religion, it starts getting, pretentious and weird and
yeah.
changes the air because people start want to argue different, specifics about things that are written. And I think that's silly, really, truthfully. I think as long as you
Right, right.
acknowledge that there's a creator, you should be okay. And you
Hmm.
and practice religion all you want. That's fine. You know what I mean? So, but I think that's about as far as we can jump into religion without causing a stir. But
Yeah, right.
let's
I
see.
know it's always a touchy subject, right? With people, because
Right,
you never know how they're gonna react towards the way that you feel for it. And I go, for me, I just don't like arguing about the past. So
right.
like, let's propel forward, and
There you go.
you know what I mean. So it's one of those touchy subjects where you have to be a little bit careful
Exactly.
for people, because you never know how someone's gonna react. I mean,
Yeah.
if I have this conversation with my stepdad, like he'll just flip out
Right.
if I don't agree with him, and I go, well, I just don't touch the subject.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, and then some that obviously are that don't believe in some of that structure. It's the same type of conversation with those type of people too. So it's like
Hmm.
they just but that's just all that stuff is really a distraction. And I think the bigger message to take away from just being here, period, as humans, is that something for sure started all this. So whatever you want to call it, whatever you think it is up to you. But like I said, I think that's the one thing most people can agree on is that something started this. But yeah, getting into that and then just kind of, you know, uh, I just kind of love the way I just, man, I don't even know how to really get into it. Let me see. Simon says, ask Juan
I
about his
saw.
book. Hope he doesn't
Uh,
mind. You have a book?
yeah, I've been working on one, but it's been on hold for a little bit.
Oh, okay. Let's talk about it. Let us know about it. I didn't know you were working
No,
on
cause
something.
yeah, no, it's because I had an idea. So I had an idea to write this book. I actually have two that I'm working on right now. But thank you for putting me on the spot, Simon.
Right.
No, it's just I had a UFO book. I grew up in. So you're from Bakersfield, right?
Hmm.
If you look up Oroloma or Dos Palos or Fireball or Fresno, I grew up around that area where it's just desolate, just farmland and
Yeah.
agriculture.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I had this idea of like, and so the book is called. Uh, I'm not sure if I should say it. Only the Hills Remain, and it's about abductions and how these aliens and UFOs hide in the mountains like that in the agriculture community and come down and abduct people. And then Nope came out, and I go, I can't write that book anymore because it's gonna sound like I took their idea, you know.
Right.
But I had it before he did, or maybe I don't know. It's just unrealized idea is what I call it.
Well, yeah,
So
that's a true thing. That is a real true thing. Because I'll tell you what, because I write music and just creative all around. So, yeah, there's definitely times where I've sat on ideas and literally someone came up with the exact same idea, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
like, how did that happen? But what I would say to that one, why I would continue writing that because I think
I
it's.
had to change it.
You said you had to change it?
I had to change it. Yeah, I had to change it a little bit because it's like the whole scenario, the whole way the movie's played out is almost similar, except I don't have a giant jellyfish trying to eat people.
Yeah.
But, because I actually have the UFOs. But it was one of those things where I, like, even my girlfriend goes, that's exactly what you wrote.
Well, yeah, I mean, like I said, unrealized ideas, but that means that you were onto something with that story. You know what I mean? So, because it ended up being a hit. So, I can't wait to see what you come up with. And then you should finish it.
Scenario, yeah. I will. And then, like I said, it's called Only the Hills Remain.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have another one that I'm working on. It's kind of like a neo-noir kind of feel called Queen City.
Okay.
And it's kind of like two friends. It's almost based on a true story, but it's like two friends go out for a night and there's a murder, basically.
Okay.
And just one of those things.
Where do the aliens come in?
There's no aliens in that one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just I guess I don't know how you would describe it. I think a cross between the movie Drive and something similar like that. It's just a random story.
Simon says, "Bring it, Juan. Bring the heat, not the sleep, man." Love that.
They love that. They love that.
Yeah, man. I can't wait.
Simon knows. Simon, I actually told Simon about the story, so that's the reason why he brought it up. Yeah, so I just have to. I had to change a couple of things so it doesn't make it seem like it plagiarized Nope.
Let's see. Yeah, full credit to Juan. That's his term. That's right. That is. Bring the heat, not the sleep. Love it.
Line them up too.
Exactly. So man, Brown Dwarf says he says do the Cholo version of the first the first story.
No idea how I would do that. I'm not gangster like that.
That's all right. You associate with some G's, man. You're good.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. No, yeah, well, yeah, because I grew up in the streets, but I don't know how I would do that. Just like a bunch of cholos getting abducted.
So here's Lovey Love is saying if she comes on, then she wants to just take questions.
Oh, nice. That's
so,
amazing.
do you got a list of questions for Lovey Love?
I think everyone wants to probably ask a question. Hey, by the way, I have to shout out Monica.
Yep.
and Mike Bothwell as well, and Tim Both, all of them, everyone, because they're such good people. All of you guys are such great people.
Definitely.
So I have to shout. I have to shout them all out.
Definitely. Yeah, no, I agree, man. I agree. Everybody that I've seen here, every person in here that I've interacted with, I'm just looking at all the names in the chat. I don't have anything but good to say about these people. They've shown their best self to me, so that's what I go off of. I haven't had any bad experiences with any of these people here. These are all good-spirited people, and I love it. And Let's see. No super
I think
chats here,
I got
Simon. We're
asked
not big enough yet, man. Yeah, we're not big enough. We're close,
I
but
think
we're not.
I got asked that by some people that I have that I'm friends with from other chats like the podcast,
Mm-hmm.
and I used to hang out more over there than over here now. And they asked me, they're like, "Wow, well, what's the difference?" And now I'm starting to see them peek in here. I go,
And we got look, we have a surprise visitor right now that we're gonna go ahead and bring in.
"Oh,
And
bring them in."
this is a first timer too.
Ooh,
First timer
nice.
one. Let's see who we have here. So welcoming to the stage, we have, ladies and gentlemen, Paramarv. Paramarv, thank you for coming in. Awesome to
Yeah,
Yeah,
see you,
thanks, Rob.
sir.
Thanks, sir. It's good to be seen. Good to be with you.
there he is.
Yes. Awesome, man. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you
Nice,
so much for asking. Loving the show.
nice.
Appreciate you.
Thank
And
you. Thank you.
like I was telling Tim Mothman earlier, I'm going to be a boring caller, man, because I've never had an experience. The aliens have deemed me unworthy up to this point.
That's all
But
that.
I've always given Derek Galloway a hard time, and I stopped doing that because I didn't want to be someone who pressured him and then not do it myself. So
Ah.
No, keep giving him a hard time because he keeps calling me Juanita.
he's just having fun with you. You know what? He will show up at some point, I'm sure. I believe in him, and it will be epic. It will be great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's a
And
good dude.
I saw your comment, Paramar, when you said that actually earlier, and I was gonna bring that up actually. So I'm glad you came on here. Um, a conversation because my co-host or my former co-host, my friend still though, Mattel, he's a guy who had gone his whole life, no sightings, totally is into the subject.
Hmm.
And that, when I talked with him is when I realized, and this was probably a year ago, I realized that there within ufology, not everyone has had an experience. And then when I got to thinking about that, when we have things like the UAP reports coming out. We're almost this close to getting something, and then we get the door slammed in our face, and then I start to really feel and sympathize with the portion of our community that haven't seen anything because when it comes to being in that situation, then not getting disclosure or not, them dragging or kicking the can down the road, it affects like you more because you just want to see something. Like you just want the confirmation to
Yes,
know
yes,
that
yes.
these things are here and that it's happening when you have the other side of ufology who has seen something. So we're like, oh, we already had our disclosure and this and that. And but then for the ones who haven't, and that's why I really feel for that side of ufology. And I just wanted to say that to you because you put that comment in there. But one thing I will say, the good thing that is that if from what I've understood, we had Tom King on the show once and Tim many times, and they both are doing the whole sky watching thing. So what I've found from just talking to them and kind of other people is that you pretty much can almost guarantee to have a sighting if you get yourself a psionics camera. And I'm not obviously selling anything for them, but from
Yeah.
what I understand, we did a show on like sky watching and what would be a budget setup, and they were talking about you can get the psionics monocular for like $400, and there are literally people who have these are saying that more often than not they're catching things on camera. So that would be the thing that I would, pass on to the side of ufology that wants to experience something and just hasn't, maybe a tool that might allow you to kind of get that thing that you're looking for.
Yeah. So yeah, I've
Nice,
heard for
nice.
years that you can get what is it, like a Gen 3 night vision camera and go
Mm-hmm.
out and just look in the stars. and you will see all kinds of stuff happening up there.
Yeah.
So, but
And
there's,
see,
the cost is a little prohibitive on that because they're
yeah,
like
yeah.
$5,000 or something. So,
Well, yeah, well, see, and that's where we get down to those psionics because that I saw that and I was like, I'm gonna get one myself because I've
yeah,
had a sighting, but I would love to see more things and finding out that whatever that spectrum that they're using is uncovering a lot of things that are really just right above us all the time. Then I think more people should get their hands on one so they can have that experience just to know, yeah, there are these weird things flying around the sky. What are they? Instead of just hearing
Mhm.
stories from other people or
right.
seeing videos online and not knowing if that was real or not. Because I know my video is authentic and I know what happened as I was watching these things. But to some skeptics, they immediately look at it and they say, oh, birds or oh, balloons or something like that, right? But I was there and I know what they looked like. I know they weren't birds. I watched them all disappear, so I know that. But to someone who wasn't there, to them it's a story and it's just, a video that they will either believe or not believe. And I just, I will talk to my co-host about this and we were having a real personal conversation about that, and that's when it clicked and I realized that, man, there really is a side of ufology that just really is yearning to just have that one moment where they can say that they had an experience, and just my heart goes
Right.
out to all those
Right.
people,
And
man.
what
Yeah.
sucks about that even though as well that I've experienced, even if when you tell them that you've had an experience or even if you show them proof like a picture or a video, these people who claim to believe in UFOs still like try to dismiss you. It's kind of like discouraging.
Right.
And I
Yeah,
go,
it's
why are we dismissing each other? I thought we were on the same team, and it turns out like we're not. So, with Paramarv, by the way, nice to meet you, and glad to put your name to a face.
Exactly.
It,
thank you, sir.
it must be frustrating to not have experienced anything.
Amen. It's very
'Cause
frustrating, especially when you've been around experiences. Like there've been a couple of things where I've been adjacent to things. One time, my son says he saw a ghost looking over my shoulder, and
mm,
he asked, "Hey, Dad, who's that little girl?" I said, "There's no girl." He says, "Yeah, the little blonde girl right behind you." I turned around and
wow.
there's nobody there. And so I asked him because I know he'll pull jokes. Like he's a prankster like me, but he was dead serious. I could tell that he was not joking around. So, in about a year and a half ago, my wife and my child were driving to school, and they said they saw a skinny, naked white guy run across the road. It is March in Michigan. This is not naked running time, folks. And they saw a
Right.
skinny white dude who was like painfully skinny. Okay, like, and I'm thinking, oh my God, they saw a rake or something. And
Hmm.
my daughter, the one who was in the car with my wife, she is a bit like me. She's very into the paranormal at different points. And so she knows what she saw, but she couldn't really describe it other than saying he was really fast, painfully skinny, and just darted across the road right in front of him. And they come home and I'm like, okay, tell me everything. Tell me everything. Where was it? What did it look like? What were the conditions? And
Yeah.
Derek Galloway, back to him, he jokes about me being the ever inquisitive one, and he's right. I just want to ask questions. I want to get all the information I can.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's good. That's good to do. That's what I do too, especially being
Yeah.
able to talk to a bunch of different experiencers who have had similar experiences and then extract their experience and then compare it to theirs and then take all the information, cross reference it to try to figure out, and see some sort of pattern or
Look for a pattern,
um,
exactly.
and yeah, and that's what we should be doing. So I'm
Yeah.
glad you're doing that because that's how everybody should be approaching this thing. So
Yeah.
your experience. So we know you haven't had the UFO experience, but
No.
have you had paranormal or anything else like that, or just anything strange?
Every once in a while, I stop and wonder about a couple of things. There was one experience that I know was really strange. I talked with Lovely Love about, I lived down in North Carolina for about 4 years.
Hmm.
We lived in a house in Selma, North Carolina, right outside of Raleigh, about 30 miles outside of Raleigh. And this house had been empty for the previous 10 years, like empty. It was derelict. And we bought it with the idea that we actually got a lease option on it with the idea that we were going to fix it up. And so I was working from home and it was the middle of the day, like noon, 1 o'clock right there. Nobody was in the house except my 18-year-old son, who's like 6'4", big burly guy and deep voice and everything. And we this is the same place where my other son said he saw the ghost at the front door. And he I'm sitting there doing work and I hear a woman laugh just out of the blue. No, I don't know. Maybe I said something or I talk to myself all the time. I'm crazy like that. And she she just laughed. And I stopped and I'm looking around and I'm thinking, I'm doing the checklist in my head. Okay, everybody's gone. Only Scott is here. That is not his laugh. There's just no way. And so I'm just puzzled. And I go downstairs and say, "Hey, Scott, did you hear something a couple minutes ago?" He says, "Yeah, a laugh." And I said, "Okay, so you heard it too." He says, "Yeah." He says, "I thought it was you." I said, "No, it wasn't me." "Yeah, I'm sure it wasn't you." He says, "No, I was just sitting here playing video games." So I don't know.
Yeah, that's something.
Wow.
So
Wow.
That's something. Yeah. So Lovey Love
You
says,
know,
"Ooh, Lord."
one of the things that reminds me of you, Paramarv, is my girlfriend never had seen like UFOs,
hmm
and she never seen like a shooting star or like a meteor shower, or even when I think like a couple of years ago there was from Washington State, you could see uh, like a comet,
yeah,
and you can see the tail, and you can see it. If you were in the darkest of skies, you could see it. As long as there was no light pollution, you could see it. And so we went out there and saw it, and she, in all three occasions, I think we went to go see Interstellar when it first came out, and I said, "There's supposed to be a meteor shower tonight," and I was like, "You ever seen a shooting star like go across the sky?" And she said no, and I go, "Well, tonight's going to be your first night," and
mm,
immediately she breaks down because it's like to her it's one of those things you only get to see once in a while. And then when we did the comet, that was another one. I think
yeah,
Haley's Comet was the last time I saw one. And then the oh well, also the she didn't get to see the Great American uh, solar eclipse. Um, that one was that one was creepy, man, because I was going to work when it was happening, and everyone stopped their car and got out and were looking up into the sky, and it was almost apocalyptic. It's so weird. But then we got the chance to see these orbs. We were walking our dog Nova
hmm
out in this place that I call Tonopod, and I named it after Tonopod test sites, in
right.
Vegas, but I'm in
Mm-hmm.
Washington, and because I go, we were gonna see something one day, and that day I go, we're looking south, west, and there's these three orbs that are orange just dancing with each other. That's how I remember it. And I go, look, and I've seen them before, like, so I know what I'm looking at. And I go, you've never seen UFOs? I was like, there they are right there. And she's like, oh no, they're just helicopters. I'm like, helicopters don't move that fast, especially at that distance from where we're watching them from. And they were just dancing. And they would come together, form a circle, like just one singularity, and then spread out. And they would dance around each other. And then all of a sudden, they came back together, and they shot up into the sky. And she was so afraid that she told me, let's get in the car and go home. And the whole car ride, she didn't speak. And then once we got into the house, she just started breaking down and started crying. And I go, what's wrong? And she goes, I've never seen anything like that before. And yeah, she became emotional.
Yeah. Yeah, and I have seen a shooting star, I believe. It was about 15 years ago. And I was working till, I worked like 6 to 2 or something. I was working 2 o'clock in the morning. And then I had about an hour and a half drive home. And I was driving through a rural part of southern Michigan where I live. And I was on Rogers Highway. I can tell you exactly where I was. And like I said, it was a little after 3 a.m. And I look up and there's this green, just shot right above me. It was so quick, but it was close. But in theory, could have been UFO, but it was more likely a comet or a shooting star or something. So either way, it was a really cool experience.
To watch.
Just visually beautiful.
I think watching the comet, the most recent one, was probably the most exciting part that we had, because we went out there in the dark. There was like nothing around. It was just complete darkness, and then you can see the tail of the comet, and you can see the little speck causing it.
Oh, speaking of shooting stars, what do you think about that one from Vegas then, Paramore?
The one from Vegas. I don't know if I've seen this.
The one that started the whole Vegas ET thing.
The alien thing, right?
The one
from back in May?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
That shooting star, do you think that was just a shooting star, or do you think that there was more to it?
That's a good question.
The Vegas thing, I think, got a little muddy. And the parts that I like about it actually come from you, Rob G, where I looked at that video that you had posted on your site where you do the zoom in of the cab of that bulldozer or whatever it was, that heavy machinery. And you can, I could see the reflection of the eyes and kind of the outline of the entity, the individual. So there are things I like about that, and then there are things that are like, I don't know, man, this is just weird. So
I heard they recently came out, and I have to look this information up. I heard somewhere that they recently came out and talked more about it. Have you heard anything about that?
No, sir.
Someone said that. I can't remember who.
No, sir.
I remember Brown Dwarf sending me something, and they're like, "Oh, they found the aliens from that," and it was just like it was like some like CGI alien like twerking.
Yeah.
No, the one I watched one yesterday that really got me interested in something where and it's on Derek Galloway's channel right now on YouTube, and there's just this light in the sky, and it's from about a little over a year ago. I want to say September of 22, and it's moving in such a way where it's not a conventional aircraft. There's just no way. There's 2 or 3, there are multiple like 90-degree right angle turns that it's making. It's doing it on a dime. There's just no way. And there are points where it's kind of doing weird wavy stuff too. So stuff like that. I mean, you mentioned orbs a few minutes ago, Juan.
Yeah.
I got a high bar on the orb thing. You know, I think a lot of it is dust. What I look for is that movement that just cannot be explained. If
Yep.
something's moving from point A to
Mhm.
point B in a gentle floating motion, okay, we're maybe looking at dust. But if it's doing this, I mean, that's
Yeah.
not dust. Dust doesn't do that. That's something
Yeah.
intelligent. There's something guiding that.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm. I mean, that's the reason why I call it dancing. Because,
yeah.
like I said, we saw three orbs, and I go, helicopters don't dance with each other, and there's not flares. There's not someone who's carrying a flare who jumped out of a plane, and they're interacting with each other, and then especially just shooting up into the sky. It, it was just bizarre, and I just remember because I'm not scared, but she was terrified. She's like, I just don't. She didn't know how to explain it, and I go, well, there it is. I said, you've never had one experience. I was like, well, now you have one.
Yeah. Fellas,
Yeah,
And
I
I'm
should
not someone
bounce.
who takes out my phone and tries to film it. The last time I tried to do that, like, you couldn't even see it.
I
And I
should
go,
bounce.
you know,
It's wonderful meeting you guys. I actually work nights, so I took a little break to jump on here.
oh,
And I
nice,
just wanted to
man.
say
oh
hi
yeah,
to you
man.
guys and to the chat room
Hey,
folks. Thank you so
hey.
much.
By the way, love your
I
shirt.
really love hanging out with you guys on an almost nightly basis.
Man,
And
one
Yeah.
it's
love.
just such a great community. Thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of it. So,
Paramarv, awesome dude.
You're an awesome dude, man.
oh,
I'm
thanks,
glad
guys.
you got in here. The goat.
Awesome. Thanks for spending time with us, Paramarv. We'll see you in the chat.
All
Yeah,
right, thanks, guys.
where's
Take care.
Derek Galloway again?
Where is he?
Right.
Where's
Oh
Derek
man, come
Galloway?
on.
Where is he? Exactly. Where is he?
You know, he's probably jotting down all the amazing stories he's going to share with us at some point.
Yeah. That's funny. Thank you.
Take care,
Love you,
guys. Thank
Marv.
you so much.
You too, man. Hope
You
to see you
take care
All
soon.
right,
as well,
bye-bye.
man.
All right,
He's such a
guys. That
good
was
dude.
awesome, man. That was awesome.
He's such a good dude.
That was Paramarv, guys. Paramarv took a break from work in order to come in and say hello and join the conversation. Love it.
Yeah, get Lovey Love up here.
Lovey Love is making demands, and I don't know if she's showing up, though. I don't know. I mean, I still have the message on the screen right now. And I thought that was her coming in, but it was actually Paramarv. Love it.
Oh yeah. I thought that was her. I was like, wait. Wait, no, I'm glad Marv did it.
No, so Sovereign, if you have a link to that story, I'll bring it up and we can take a look at it. But I do have, yeah, if you can find that Paramarv, let me know and we'll go over that. But I had a question that came in from Simon, and I'm gonna bring that up real quick. And then maybe you can give your response to this too, Juan. Simon asked, what would make your life complete? Thanks. And that's a real heavy question. So what I would want, yeah, what I would say about that is the thing that would make my life complete would be to, it would have to do with humanity in the path that we're on right now. So it would make my life complete if I could see that there was some change that was affected from, the part that I played in this, and that because of that the world that would be that if I had some sort of knowledge of the world, the way the world is going, that it's heading on a positive path. If I could leave this planet knowing that my grandkids, my grandkids, great grandkids, all the way down the line, that they'll be inheriting a better place, and that I had, even a small part in helping wake people up to kind of take that path, then that would make my life complete. That's the mission that I'm on right now, right? It's like Maggie and Ten is saying, growing the dig for the positive progression of humanity, and that's what I say at the end of every show. That's all. That's what I'm doing this for. It's literally what I'm doing this for. Like there is no ulterior motive behind anything that I'm doing. Period. Whether it's on after hours or whether it's here, there's no gimmicks to anything that I'm doing. There isn't. I'm not speaking it out of one side of my mouth and doing and acting another way up the other side. It's just not what I'm doing. So, and I think people see that, and I think people understand that it's genuine. What it is that I'm doing is totally genuine, and I would never BS anyone out there. Just like if we met on the streets as friends, which I feel that we all are, anyways. Um, I give people the benefit of the doubt initially, right? And I put out that.
Sorry, I'm not laughing at you. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
you
not
good?
laughing at you.
No, and I put out the energy that I want to receive back, and it's always positive energy, and it's always I always hope to receive that. I don't always get it back every time, but I'm just a genuine dude, man. At the end of the day, you can try to flip me and turn me in so many different ways. You're just gonna find out that the person that you see right here, right now, is just I'm this person. When this camera turns off, like it's gonna do after a little while here, I'm just that same guy. You call me on the phone, I'm that same guy.
Yeah.
We meet up, we have a drink, I'm the same guy. You tell me a personal thing going on in your life, I'm the same guy. All the way around the board. And I think that's how you have to be. You have to be, and you should be genuine, because it takes too much energy to be fake and to put up a facade. And I'm just not. I'm just not with that. And that's just not what I do. So I do have someone that came in to join us, Juan. And you can.
We got more people.
We do. We do.
Sorry, the only reason why I laugh is because of Simon's comment.
Because what happened?
He said he said he said he was going to delete the comment, but I was like, no, don't delete it. He said he said, like, I'm sick of that guy, and then he said Billy Carson, and people know me. I'm not a fan of him either, and other people that are associated with him, and I just laughed.
Yeah.
Just literally name dropped him.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're fine. You're fine because here's the thing, and I'm about to bring our guest in here in just a second who just come on. Just want to say this really quick. Here's the thing. If you claim to be genuine, you shouldn't be afraid to be called out for certain things. Like if you have an issue with someone having an opinion on you, then that means you're not pure, you're not being genuine. Yeah. No. Who is the guest? Oh, the guest is one of our beloved here, our beloved. And she goes by the name of Deb from Sacramento.
Oh, my girl.
Deb from Sacramento.
You know, we have her. I have her back all the time.
And she is here on stage with us right now. How you doing, Deb?
I am backstage. Hi, you guys. How's it going?
Hi.
We're doing great.
I'm the weary traveler. I just got back from a whole weekend at our local casino here up in Placerville called Red Hawk.
Oh, yeah.
And they installed their new hotel, so my best friend and his boyfriend came up for the weekend. My Mike and my Michael, I call them my M&Ms. And we hung out and had the best time and won a lot of money and put some back and got some quality catch-up time, and it was so much fun. And the hotel gave us free rooms and meals, and I just had a blast. I had a wonderful weekend. I got home about an hour ago, and then I noticed your show was on, so I just wanted to pop over and say, hey.
Hey, thank you for doing that. And Deb is talking. See, I think Lex Diaz says Oh, I'm from Sacramento too, so Lex may know about Red Hawk. But Red Hawk, I remember I went there when it first opened up. This is before they had any of the amenities, so I was surprised when you said you went there. So is it nice now, or?
Oh, it's really nice. Yes, luxury, beautiful. Yeah, rooms are fantastic. Everything's first rate, lots of restaurants, really, really nice.
Yeah, I remember when they first
Absolutely.
came out. They hadn't made it there yet, but now I'm gonna have to go ahead and go check them out next time I'm down in Sacramento. Usually we would go to. I know you're familiar with like Cache Creek and
Oh, yeah. Thunder
Jackson as
Valley
well.
and
Jackson. Have
yeah,
you?
oh, Jackson's a blast.
When's the last time you've been to Jackson?
Oh gosh, it's probably been 10 years since I've been to Jackson.
Oh man, they
Yeah.
had and guys out there, you guys all everyone out there, listen to this. We used to go to Jackson, and this only stopped at when the pandemic hit. They used to have up there all you could eat lobster
Oh,
Jesus
tails,
Christ.
all
oh,
you could
yum.
eat lobster and king crab,
Oh,
Jesus.
king
love it.
crab and lobster
Oof.
tails,
The
unlimited.
lobster tail. That's insane.
Dude, they would give you two huge lobster tails every time you went up there. You know, you brought your plate up there, and they had unlimited king crab legs. I don't know how they stayed in business. I don't, but
Yeah,
That's a
that's
lot.
that's pricey. Well, Red Hawk has a buffet too, where, you just pay the one price, and if it's king crab and lobster night, it's the same thing. You eat as much as you want, basically.
oh
They have
they
their
do have that
seafood
up there
night.
now.
What's that?
They do have that up there now.
Oh
They have
yeah,
that.
they've got a buffet with just about
Oh,
every kind of food you can imagine. It's
okay.
just one price,
It,
and the line is, really long. If you go at the right time, and like I said, my friend is what I call a casino whale. He spends a ton of money, so they comp us our buffet tickets, but for seafood night, it's like $60 a person. But that's because it's
wow.
lobster and crab and all this stuff and unlimited. So yeah, they've got some great food there too. But I wanted to comment, if I could, on what Juan and you both talked about
Sure.
briefly regarding, I call him Billy the Con Carson. And Juan and I are pretty much on the same page with him and agree. And then what you said, Rob, is if someone challenges you and challenges, what you're saying, I notice what he does is when people challenge his narratives and, have a problem with the things he teaches and stuff, instead of address them, um, they call us negative. We're just negative
Yeah.
people who don't want to accept the truth, and that's their comeback. And it's like, instead of calling us negative, why don't you, instead of shooting the messenger, why don't you address the actual question? And that way people might actually be able to resonate with your teachings rather than just, come at people and call them negative and cry in the camera and say, they just don't understand. It's like, well, if you're going to be up there as a teacher, learn to take the criticism and learn to address serious questions.
Yeah.
hmm Nurse
I,
is right.
and I
Yeah.
totally
Shoot.
agree with you.
Brings it.
I
Brings
totally
heat.
agree with that statement because I think I don't and I'll just use myself as a comparison. Like I don't claim to be any sort of teacher or leader of people or anything of that nature, but I do feel like if you are taking that role, then you do have a responsibility to handle yourself in a certain way. And that's one thing I will say. So I know, I met Billy before, and I have through a different show that I used to be on, and there he's right about some of the stuff that he teaches. I'll say, I mean, some of the stuff. And I'm always looking for, I'm from urban areas, and when you have people who are misleading or something in that nature, you end up sniffing those people out, and you kind of and so that's something that you always naturally do. And there were some things obviously that didn't sit right with me, and some of the things you mentioned there. But I will just give credit where credit's due on some of the stuff that I hear him say. It ends up being something that you can consider valuable. But like you said, there are times where you're not shining yourself in the same light that you shine yourself in when you're the knowledge giver and the teacher, and it just comes off more as disingenuous with some of the ways that you go about defending some of the critics out there. Because you should be able to stand up to that no problem, and stand just as tall and strong as you do when you teach. That's one thing I'll say. I mean, and I don't have a problem with calling out people like that or saying that's just my opinion. And I'm sure he may have an opinion about me, and I'm fine with that. I take it and let it roll off my back, or if it's something I could see that I could change, I would address it and change it.
Well, and the difference between you and him is that you would be willing to go on Rob, and you're an honest, open book and take any question, whereas he is not. And there's the difference right there.
Okay. Yeah,
It's a big difference.
I'm just trying to be politically correct at the same time because I'm not really.
No, we don't have to worry about that stuff anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I'll let you guys go and say those things because I'm not gonna disagree.
Yeah.
So I'll say that.
Well, I always give. Oh, I'm sorry, Juan. Go ahead. I'm interrupting Juan. Go ahead.
Oh, no. Go ahead. No,
Well,
I've spoken enough. You go ahead.
Well, I'm just going to say, I always try to give people the benefit of the doubt, even though I don't know them and they're just an online presence. I always try to give people the benefit of the doubt until they give me a reason not to. And eventually, everyone always shows you who they really are. They really do. And, I'm a pretty forgiving person and I can forgive shenanigans here and there. But when it's a consistent pattern of nastiness and whether they're, picking at you or always picking at someone else, it's like, you know what? There's a pattern here. I recognize it and I'm going to disengage here because this is not a healthy one. And it takes me a long, long time. And I watch people for a long time and I don't snap to judgment either. I try to be very fair-minded. But again, everyone, whether it's Billy Carson or whoever, everyone eventually always shows you who they are. If you give them enough rope, they'll hang themselves. And disingenuous people always do. And we cannot, that's one thing we can always count on in the universe. No matter.
Weird to me, be knowing who Deb from, I'm just going to call you Deborah.
Well, no, call me Deb, please. Deborah. I only get called Deborah when I'm in trouble.
Can you hear me now?
So with Deb, I got.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I think I said this last time that I was on the phone. That they reached out to me to make sure that she wasn't. And I know who she is. Sorry, Deb, but you really show your personality to text.
Yeah, I know I do.
And so they were they reached out to me to try to cancel you out from all these platforms, and I go, what the hell? I was like, she's never been mean to me. I've never seen her be mean to anyone. So I was like, what do you guys? This is like a witch hunt.
Juan?
It's a witch hunt, and it's very targeted. It's very mean-spirited, and the witch hunt is very targeted, and that's just plain nastiness. And people really have no reason to be doing it, except they're just nasty people. That's the only reason I would do it to someone. But that's not who I am.
Exactly how I feel. And I go, that's not in my nature. I am loyal to the people that I'm friends with.
Same here.
That I've met, and I go, like, you really gonna put? We're not doing this right now. I said, we're not kids.
Yeah, what is this, high school? Aren't we adults?
And just so you guys know,
thanks, kids. Thanks, kids. We appreciate your testimony.
There she is.
We got it on the record. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm sorry. I thought Juan and I were still speaking. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, we heard it a million times before, Deb. We've heard it a million times before. and you use multiple names. You're not just Deb in the chat. You can't just be yourself. You come in here and preach like you're just who you are and you're so genuine. And the fact of the matter is that you are 99 plus different personalities.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
Okay, well, you don't know me. We've never met. And when you're
And
locked
the
out of
thing
the...
is like
Okay,
you getting canceled
Rob,
out at
she just chimed
SOR.
she just chimed in to try to, bust me, argue with me, tell me I'm a terrible person. I'm not going to engage in this. So I'm going to go ahead and leave because she just wants to talk crap about me and she's stating things that aren't true. So I'm gonna leave this, okay? I'm not going to engage in negativity. Thanks, Rob, for taking me in, and God bless Area 51. Love you guys. Love you guys in chat.
Love you too, man. Take care. Hold on. Love you, love.
And the thing is you know who gave her the docs?
Did someone?
Love you, love. Now you're. No one's hearing you, and I have to say, if it's going to be a negative situation, then I can't allow you to be on stage to do that. That's not what this show is for, unfortunately. I got love for you, but I just can't. I can't have the negative stuff going on, man. I don't understand that. I don't get it. It's not necessary. We are in totally different places in this country. You're over there, she's over here. We can't. I don't understand why we can't just have civil conversation about things to better our position as humanity. So
I want to say something, but I just don't want to say it.
Yeah, I mean, let's just try to
we're all
avoid.
friends, aren't we?
I hope so. I really do, because
I have her back. I have your back too. Love you, love. Like, I have all of your backs.
I don't want to be. I'm not going to be. That's what I'll say. I'm not going to be a person is going to allow the type of thing I wouldn't do myself, right?
Yeah.
So if I wouldn't sit up here and do this, then how would I allow anyone else to do that on my platform? I'm sorry, lovey love. I can't let you do that. I really can't. So regardless of what's going on.
Where did that come from? I thought you guys were all friends.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. So I just want to ask her a question because I want to make sure. I also don't want to kick a person out of here or anything like that. But lovey love. Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you, but I don't like being called down.
So calm down.
No one called you down.
What do you mean?
Nobody better not call me down.
All right.
No.
I will listen. I will listen to what you got to say, but I am not about some bullshit. And if you ever thought I was, then you ain't my friend, and you ain't never ever known me. Period.
So, lovey love. I'm gonna tell you, I'm a realist. I'm a realist, straight up. I don't have no time for the BS. I don't get down with the BS.
I thought you guys were.
I don't get down with the drama. Never have. Never will. I don't promote the drama. Never have. Never will.
It's okay.
You're not.
And so here's the thing. I thought so.
Some people got Patreons. It ain't me though.
What is the intention of coming over to the show? Just to begin with. So why tune in?
I had to come in because you know what? This ain't the first time she's come over here talking trash about shit. And somebody from over at SOR should have come on over here and told her they're tired of hearing her talk about her shit.
Okay.
That's why.
So here's the thing.
Wow.
You sound like you're fighting someone else's battle.
That way.
For one, sounds like you're fighting someone else's battle. I don't think it's your
No,
battle to fight.
I'm not, because you know what? They didn't do me no favors either. I've been banned. I've been banned multiple times. I've been crying about it, mad about it, pissed off about it.
Okay.
But when you talk true and be real and honest with people, they don't like what you have to say. So their little feelings get hurt and they talk shit back to you and they think you're going to always just accept it. Accept it. And then finally, in an after-hour show that don't have mods, that you think you can speak your mind, you come on here and you just want to tell the one person that's always had control, who's always been a mod over you, who was like a big sister over you, who you might love and respect in a whole other way, but also is done with their bullshit, needs to be told they're full of crap sometimes. They
All
are
right.
full of
So,
crap. Thank
okay.
you.
I
So if you need
understand.
to let me go, let me go.
Okay. I will do that, lovey love. I
Good night.
appreciate you coming in. Take care.
Yeah.
This is it's crazy. It's crazy.
Don't know what just happened.
Well, here's what I'm gonna
I
say.
thought they
Here's
were
what I'm
friends.
gonna say. Here's what I'm gonna say. Here's what I'm gonna say.
I thought they were friends.
So
Weird. I mean,
this,
just the situation, not the
I'm
people.
just gonna say this, man, and I'm gonna have to get some mods in this chat because and I never had mods in here because I expect everyone to come in here and behave and just and get along with each other, right?
That was wild. That was
Because
the
here's
first
the
time.
thing. I would assume that if someone is in here that you don't get along with, that you'll leave or come back another day.
Where did that come from, though?
I'm not even here to figure that out. I'm not here to do any of that. I'm just simply here to say, if you're, when you walk through this door, and you don't have to walk through this door. This is an open door. I invite everyone in to have a great time and to get along with each other, man. That's I'm not one here to promote any BS. I've never been about that. I never have been, never will be. And just don't do that here. Don't do that here, and don't do that in the live chat at Spaced Out Radio either. Don't do it over there. Because if it's anywhere that I'm at, then it's not gonna go down and it's not gonna happen. So and I'm sorry I have to even say this, and I feel like we're all adults, and this really shouldn't even have to be said, right? I really feel like people should carry themselves like adults, and if you have beef with someone, do it somewhere else. Reach out by email, get the person's phone number, talk directly to that person if you have beef. Don't use me or use someone else to be the intermediary to facilitate your beef. That is not that's not how I get down. And I'm sorry if you feel some kind of way about what I'm saying right now, but that's just it, and I'm just being real with you because that's all that I can be.
No, yeah,
and
for sure.
and
I mean, it's your reputation. It's literally you being put on the spot.
And that's the thing. I mean, this is some childish BS, and it's not gonna happen here, man. We're gonna nothing but adults here, and adults that can handle themselves, and that's just what I ask, and that's what I demand,
100%.
man. I'm not even one to say that, but that's what I demand. I demand that a level of respect from the people who come in here. You're gonna have to show me that respect, or you're just gonna have to not show up, man. I'm sorry, because that's just. It's just what it is.
I have no dog in this fight.
Just what it is, man.
I thought they were friends.
It's just what it is.
Jesus, like, I have my opinions about people too, and I'm not even mean about it. I just don't follow them. I just don't care about them, and then all of a sudden, if people want to feel a weird way about it, so I don't know.
I've never had to ban. I've never had to block. I've never had to ban or block anyone from my channel. I really don't want to. I don't want to be that person because I feel like we should all be able to get along. I feel like we should all be able to have a conversation that adds to the total conversation, and that's why we're here to do this, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm not here 3 hours after the after hours to facilitate nobody's BS, man. You know what I mean? It's 12:45 in the morning here in California. It's got to be 3:45 on the East Coast. So are you telling me that someone is really going to be up on the East Coast ready to get into some childish BS at 3:50 in the morning? I mean, come on, man. Let's please try to reel this stuff in. And let's please.
I mean, I get it. I get it. We're all
just
frustrated because I know what. I know what Deb from SAC has been put through, and I've personally experienced it. And I didn't even know her before I even knew who she was.
Sounding you crazy.
It's like crazy, right? It's crazy, right? Like I knew who she was before I knew who she was, and before she knew who I was. And when I finally met her, I go, "That's bizarre that people are talking senseless stuff about you." And I talked about this last time.
I mean, man.
And I'm not going to reiterate myself, but it's just like, do we really have to go down that path again? Like, we don't have to do that. I mean, we dislike people for being disingenuous, like they're not genuine people, right? And I understand that because I had to deal with that with people who had serious jealousy issues a year ago. And I go, I'm not even like trying to do anything for myself. I just want to make friends, and that's how I found you guys. And when they found out that I was talking to people here on SOR, now they're starting to peek their heads in. And I go, okay.
So we're gonna
word over there. I said.
We're going to let's talk about something something that has some good energy behind it, man. Let's
push it.
Yeah, let's do something like that, man, because my whole
let's change it.
Somebody trying to change my mojo, and whenever that happens, gotta do something. Let me see.
Let's push it.
Let me see what I can do.
Tim Mothman. He's another person that's one of my favorite people. Tim Mothman.
Yeah, Tim is definitely a good dude, man.
He's a great person.
I'm gonna do this. Let me see.
I thought we had. Oh no. Yeah. No, never mind. That already happened. That from SAC, you already know I have your back.
Let's see.
I have both of your backs. I don't know why, but just don't treat each other bad. We're not from that side. The Jimmy Church and Billy Carson.
Yeah, handle that shit offline. Let me see. Let's see here. I could do.
Yeah. Tim Mothman is a good dude.
Yeah, for sure.
I see the comment. I think I see the comments. Yeah, I do see the comments. Okay, cool. No one else wants to come on? Tim Mothman, come on. Simon should come on. Is he nervous?
Just want to find something real quick here.
He said, not tonight, bro.
Yeah. I mean, that's I'm not gonna say anything further, man, because I'm not gonna keep it going. I'm just going to.
No.
I'm just gonna decompress.
Let's not go that way.
Yeah, I'm gonna decompress. Right.
So. Your show?
Yeah, exactly. So let me see.
To the experts?
Yeah. I'm going to play something real quick here. The video that Paramar was talking about, I think that I'm just going to play that real quick. And this is my equivalent of a commercial break. So let me see here. Oh, okay, Magneticus is in the building. Magneticus, you're here with us. You're here with us. I appreciate you coming in, man.
I was like trying to change the tune a little bit because that was like kind of weird. I
Thank
wasn't
you. Thank you.
expecting that.
Thank you for doing that, Magneticus. And actually, what I'm gonna do right now, I'm gonna play this little 5-minute video that I got, and then we'll get back to talking here right after. So
Alrighty.
let
I'm
me
gonna mute
do
my
that.
mic until the video's over.
And your volume is a little low for me, Magnet. I don't know about. Can you hear him? One, is he low for you?
Oh, he's a little low. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. There, I'm gonna put you at 25.
Yeah,
How's that?
there you go. You sound good. Okay, let me go ahead and
all right, let's watch
let me
the
go
video.
ahead and play this real quick, and then I'll be ready to go after this.
Yeah. Go for it. Let's watch. How's it going, Magneticus?
I said I was muting the mic
hear me?
until the video was over.
Oh, there you go. How you doing, man? Hey, I feel like you can't hear me. It's okay.
No, I can hear you, but I keep muting the mic because I was gonna watch the video.
Now, this is the actual footage that was uploaded to TikTok with the aliens in the yard. I'm going to let you guys watch the original, and then I will show you the version I processed highlighting the beings.
For some reason, I want to speak Spanish right now.
Notice how the family is fully armed. He has a gun in his hand, ready to shoot. That is how scared they are.
Put that down to Zeus.
He literally just said, "Oh my god, it has giant eyes and a big mouth."
Diles, eso son, mira, trayendo para acá. Anda el camión, la colchadita del camión. Ellos segundo, de izquierda para acá, de Carlos. El concho costelo, concho costelo. Forklift o camión. Castelo Pegachari, Palalo, que te quedó con la. Palalo, diles que a casa de Lombrindi. Viene un show, o sea, Pegachari, que se dolo. Vaya, me díjale completico.
If you pay close attention, you can actually see the beings in the tractor, blinking and looking at the family. I'll actually highlight it in the processed video. Now this is the best that I could do with the video I received.
Anda el camión, la colchadita del camión. Ellos segundo, de izquierda para acá, de Carlos. El concho costelo, concho costelo. Forklift o camión. Castelo Pegachari, Palalo, que te quedó con la. Palalo, diles que a casa de Lombrindi. Viene un show, o sea, Pegachari, que se dolo. Vaya, me díjale completico. Díjale. Costelo, que acá, dile que acá, callale, ahí yo muy pelón, sí, pelón, varón, pelón. Hincharon los dos, dijeron de. Concha, que la de que chupa.
As you can see here, I circled one of the creatures, the other one is standing right behind him. Don't worry, I've also enhanced some images from these stills so that you can get a better look at what we're seeing here.
Well, first, they're speaking Spanish. I think that the commentators not.
You know, my friend that speaks Spanish, she said the same thing when she watched this. It didn't make any sense what they're saying in Spanish.
Yeah, because this is in Peru, so Peru speaks a different type of.
Oh. So I need to get my South American friend to translate. Okay.
Yeah.
All
Circled
right.
is a creature in the tractor, and now I'm going to highlight the one right behind him. Look at this. Look at its big eyes. What's more concerning is this update I'm gonna add next. The entire family has now gone missing. Story as of right now, I'm gonna leave you guys with my filtered video to see if you guys can see it again now that you know what you're looking for. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Make sure that you like and subscribe for more.
Oh wait, this is Vegas. You're right. Yeah, but they're speaking Peruvian.
So this is what you watch like a video.
Dile que acá, callale, a yo muy pelón, sí, pelón, varón pelón. Y ya los que dos dijeron de...
Monica, you're right.
Ocha, que la de que chupa abajo.
Face peepers? Peelers.
No, the face peelers.
Oh, yeah, I know. I saw that afterwards. It's just reading.
Peepers. Where'd you get those peepers? I took them off the last person that ran off the road.
Peepers?
You never seen that movie? Jeepers, creepers. That was a scary movie, kind of.
Sorry.
Beep, beep. Somebody's getting a call. Or is that the video?
That's Jim calling in. Hey, Jim, because Juan is on the line, then it won't accept the call. So come, if you can, Jim, click on the StreamYard link at the top of the chat, and that way you can come on stage and talk.
Oh, I guess it was Rob beeping.
So that was a call.
I told you somebody was beeping. I heard somebody beeping.
Yeah.
I hear that stuff.
Yeah.
Do 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 do.
Yeah, Monica was right though. The dialect is not 100% Spanish, but I said Peruvian because I thought these were face peelers. But I forgot this is actually in Vegas. So. Huh.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So thanks for bearing with the commercial break, right? So yeah, and actually there was a great video to watch because as Paramar was saying earlier, this is the video he was referring to where it shows those things inside of the forklift with some with the eyes blinking and everything. Yeah, and Jim, just again to say, the reason why I couldn't get you there is because Juan is on the phone line currently, so the phone line is tied up.
Do you want me to hop off so he can come in?
No, I mean if you hopped off, you can join in on stage. Are you able to join on stage?
I think so.
Okay.
Like how Maticus is.
And Simon the Likeable. Yeah, he's up here right now. You can join too. Simon the Likeable, before you leave, I want to answer the question that you had here that I saved. And you asked, what's the meaning of the sexuality writing over the scales behind you? So you're talking about this stuff over here. So this is a chalkboard wall. It goes probably 8 feet that way. And this room that I now have set up as my studio is my daughter's room. She's going off to college now. She's out at UCLA. And, when we set up the chalkboard wall, these are the things that she wrote on the wall. So these are some things that she feels and believes in. And I liked it. Nice. I liked what she did. I decided to just leave it up. So, yeah, that's what you're seeing back here. There's a lot of stuff written on here, top to bottom, so from the roof down to the floor, and probably about 8 feet going this way. It's just all sorts of things that she was thinking about and some of her feelings and stuff, and so I decided to go ahead and leave it that way.
I hear the beep beep again.
Yeah, so beep, are you hopping back? Okay, Juan just jumped backstage, so Juan is on stage, so let me answer this.
Call from To accept, press 1. To send a voice.
All right. Hey, Jim, we got you in here and with myself, Magneticus in Area 51. How are you doing, Jim?
Doing okay.
Good.
Yeah.
Good,
Yeah.
good.
I had something to say about that Las Vegas backyard alien, man.
Sure.
I met that guy.
Oh,
I know
wow.
those guys. Oh yeah, and that's real. That is so real, man. Although I've seen him in the daytime 6 times. I've seen him in the daytime clearly, and yeah, I've seen his hands and his long skinny legs, and he likes to see my friend alien. He likes to try to drive our machines. So he gets into a pickup truck, and I've seen him do this. He squeezes into a pickup truck because he's 8 feet tall, and he folds up his long legs, and he pulls them in there, and gets hold of the steering wheel, and then he turns around and looks at me like with this big smile on his face, like, haha, this is fun, you know. And he knows bloody well I can see him. He knows I can see him, right? And yeah, and then he drove away in this pickup truck, and he's got his back kind of curled down to make himself shorter, and he's got his legs folded up. I think he's probably got one foot on the gas pedal or something. I don't know, but yeah, I've seen him do it. It's quite a scene, and same one that they had in the backyard there. Same guy, absolutely. Yeah, I've seen him.
So,
The guy who comes to visit me. I'm quite sure. I'm not absolutely sure, of course, but they like to get into our machines and try to drive them. But isn't that weird? I mean, it's fun to them. They have a sense of humor, and they like to play around and stuff like that, right? And I've heard a lot of other stories about these same aliens. I'm pretty sure they're the tall whites, and I don't know how much you know about them, but they don't get 8 feet tall until they're like middle age. They live to be 700 or 800 years old.
Jeez.
Around, so they're teenagers when they're 100, and then they start to grow again. Like when they're 200, they start growing taller and taller. So they're like 6 feet tall when they're 200 years old, and then they start growing again, and they get up to this 8 foot tall. Yeah, that's the same guys that were in the backyard. And although in your video there, the guy's looking at the wrong thing. I saw it there. You can see a dark area moving above the top of the fence. You'll see a fence in the foreground. It's brightly lit, and behind the fence, there's something walking across, and you see this dark patch go across above the fence. That's the head of another one of these creatures. I don't know how many they had there. At least 3, I guess. At least 3 of them. Yeah, that's the best part of that video is that dark patch that moves across at the top of the fence. Another guy analyzed that video and picked out that part and said, there he is. There's the alien right there, that dark patch that goes across. And it's very, very clear for like 1 second. That's all you can see of it. But, yep, those are the guys. No, I totally believe the young man. When I viewed all that evidence, to me the best evidence was when the young man phoned the cops. Right? That listen to every word he says. And the first thing he says is they're 8 feet tall, which they are. That's how tall they are. I know, I've measured them. And then somebody else says, or he says, oh, no, 9, no, 10 feet tall. No, they're 8 feet tall. I've actually, measured their height relative to a helicopter. And yeah, that's the real deal, man. Those guys. I don't know why they landed their spacecraft in that guy's backyard. I cannot say. That's an odd thing for them to do. But yeah, you listen to what the young man's words, the witness. If you listen to him when he phoned the cops, because he was trying very hard to give all the information to the police, right? And that's he's every word he spoke was true. and he said, he said they had trouble seeing them, like they were kind of fading in and out, and they were doing this and that, and you could sort of see them, and then you could see them, and then you couldn't see them. That's what they do to me as well. Although I see them a lot clearer than that. I mean, I've seen his hand. I saw his left hand. It was 2 feet away from me, and I'm looking at his alien hand. It's got 4 fingers, and they're very long fingers. But he works his hand beautifully well, better than I can, pick things up and stuff like that. Just amazing hand. And I've seen his legs right close up. He was a few feet away from me, and he was trying to squeeze into a chair next to the chair I was sitting in at a desk. And there was a computer in front of me and a computer in front of him. He squeezed himself into this small space in this chair, right? And I didn't look up at his face. I heard him bonking around and bumping things, and because they're quite clumsy when they try to operate here in our society. They're quite clumsy, but I didn't look up at his face. I looked down at his legs, and I saw his real legs as they really are. And his femurs must be like 3.5 feet long, something like that, eh? And then his lower leg is very long, and they're very skinny legs too. And I looked down, and I could see him trying to fold up these crazy legs and get them underneath this bench. It's kind of like, if you went into a kindergarten where they have those little desks, if you tried to get into one of those desks, it was like that. He was trying to squeeze himself in there. And I'm looking down at his legs. I'm thinking, what am I looking at here? This is bizarre, man. And then I turned and looked up into his face, and he had this big smiley face on that he wears like a mask. And it's a face of a human. And it's always smiling, like it's kind of like a mask, right? So it's always smiling. So I looked up at his face, and he says to me, "What's this?" Those are the words he said. He put this hand, his alien hand, on my CD, which was on that side of the desk. I had put a CD there with my favorite music on. He puts his hand on my CD. He says, "What's this?" In a very cheerful way, like, "Well, what's this?" That's how he talks. And I said, "Well, that's my favorite music. It's jazz, blues, fusion. It's the greatest music I got." He says, "Oh, can I have it? He says, "Oh, can I have it?" And I said, I was shocked by the question, but I said, "Well, you can listen to it. Just put it in that computer. Just put it right there in that computer. Put those headphones on and listen to it." He says, "Oh, thanks." And he picks it up with his alien hand. He picks up my CD, and then he stands up, and he has to untangle his legs from underneath his chair. And he's bumping the chair and bonking and bumping and clumsy, and he gets stood up again. Then I look up at his face. He's got this big smiling human face looking at me, which is a mask. It's not his real face. But that's the mask he chooses to wear when he meets me. And I look up at his face, and he's got this big smile at me, and he walks away with my CD. He goes back to his friends that he brought with him. He brought these 4 Greys with him who were also dressed up like humans and trying to fit into our human society and deal with our gravity and all our doors and trucks and all our junk. And they're all clumsy. All the 4 guys, little guys, they're clumsy too. And so he goes, the tall guy, he walks back towards his friends, and they go out through the front door, and the whole front of the building was glass, so I could see them. They go out onto the sidewalk and walk down the sidewalk, the whole bunch of them. But they're really odd to see a group of people like that, where 4 guys are all exactly the same height at around 5'2", and then you got this one guy who appears to be he appears to be about 6'5" or 6, something like that. And so he towers over these little guys. And away they go in a little group like that, and the four little guys walk in front of him, and he walks behind them. They're sort of his helpers or guards. I guess they're his guards, I guess, and they're the type of Greys who are they're biological beings. They're not robots. They're biological beings, and they actually have a planet that they live on, and so they're not the robot Greys, the little tiny ones or anything like that. There's a name for them. Could be OBE. Something biological entity, something like that is their name. There's all different kinds of Greys, and they've got different kinds of names. But these guys, these Greys, I watched them too through all of this, and they were wearing a kind of a black mask on their face and a hat, and human clothes that were, pulled up to hide themselves. Right? They want to hide their appearance and look like humans, so they're wearing clothes and a hat, and their faces are dark, so I can't see their faces right. And when I looked, so I know how this visual screening thing works. So I would look at one of the Greys, and I'd jerk my head sideways so I could see around his mask, and then he would turn his face away from me. He'd turn his face away as fast as he could, so I couldn't see his face. So anyway, that was my first meeting with the aliens. That was the first time I met them, and I didn't know what the heck had happened. These people walk off down the sidewalk with my best CD, and I'm thinking, I was getting mad at the guy. I was thinking, who is this guy? Stealing my stuff, coming right up to me and stealing my stuff. And I felt that since he's so big, I'm like 5'10", and he's so big, I'm thinking, well, he's a bully. He's a bully. He stole my stuff, walked right up to me and stole something from me, and walks away. That's how I felt about it at the time. And then the next time he showed up in my yard, and again, same deal. And he was trying. That's when I really saw him get into the pickup truck, and with his buddies, they all got into the cab of this standard size, kind of old-fashioned pickup truck, right? And I saw them go through this process because they stumble and bump, and they got to look at a door handle on a truck and figure out how the hell does this work, and they're pushing on it and pulling on it, and then they climb over each other like the Greys. They climb over each other to get jammed into one side of the truck cab, and then get the door closed. And meanwhile, the tall guy is getting in the driver's seat, and he has to get in, and he folds his legs up, and I could see his legs coming up to the windshield because they're so long and skinny. He has to kind of fold them up inside the cab, and he's got his spine crunched down. I can see his rounded spine, and then I see him doing this. He's having difficulty getting in, but he gets into the truck and he starts it up. Then he turns around and looks at me with his mask. It smiles with a big smile, and he knows that I'm seeing him. He knows that, right? Because our minds are connected by telepathy. But on that day that he showed up in my yard, he stole these two planks I was saving. They were 2x12s that were suitable for, if you do carpentry, they're suitable for making stair runners. It's very expensive to find two good 2x12s like 10 feet long. It was very expensive pieces of wood. He stole them from me. He took them away in the back of his truck. And after he left, I'm thinking, that's that same guy who stole my CD. This guy is getting me angry. I was really angry at him after he drove away. And there was some of my friends were in the yard at the same time. My neighbors and friends were just standing around in front of my place and in my yard. And when I looked at them, they were all looking right down at their toes. All of them were standing there looking down at their toes. So I couldn't ask them, did you see what just happened? I couldn't ask my neighbors and friends that. Because they were, I don't know, they were in some kind of a trance or something, just staring down at their toes. So this guy could come and steal my planks, And he said the same thing. He says, what are the, I'm telling this out of order, but the tall guy with his little friends, he walks up to me in my yard, and he points down at these 2x12s, which I had pulled out and had them laying there on the grass, and he points at them. He says, "What are these?" And I said, "Oh, those are two stair runners. I'm going to make some stairs for a guy, and those are two very expensive pieces of very nice wood that I'm going to blah, blah, blah." And he says, "Oh, can I have them?" And I said, "I thought he lived around there or something, and he was a friend of somebody else." He says, "Oh, can I have them?" I said, "Well, you can borrow them if you need to borrow them, and because I lend stuff to people." He says, "Oh," he says, "Oh, thanks." And then they proceed to pick up my very expensive planks, put them in the back of the pickup truck, and then get in the pickup truck through this process that I described, which is quite hilarious to watch them fumbling and bumbling and stumbling around and trying to jam in 5 guys into a pickup truck, and one of them's 8 feet tall. And oh my goodness, I'm watching all this go on, and I'm just thinking, what the heck is going on here? But I was mad at him that day, I'll tell you, because that was the second time he came and stole something from me, and I was peed off. Now, okay, so once you get that story, okay, you got to ask yourself, what are these aliens doing with me? Why do they come to me and do these things to me? They play these tricks on me. Why is that? You tell me. I don't know.
Right. I had a question from, I think it was Paramarv. Yeah, this is earlier in the conversation where you talked about those being the same ETs, and that it appears that they like to get behind our machinery, our vehicles, and Paramarv was asking any idea why they're trying to boost, construction equipment? Is it just to go joyriding? What is your opinion on that, Jim?
Well, they're fascinated with our machinery. Like, what if you saw an old steam engine, one of the original steam locomotives?
Right.
Wouldn't you be interested in it? And you look at it, and might want to climb up in the cab and say, "Well, let's go for a ride in this thing." This is what they're doing. They're just interested in it, and they're fascinated by our machinery, which to them is so out of date. It's so old and fashioned. All they got to do is get in their flying saucer and just think, and the flying saucer does anything they want it to do. They just think at it, and it goes zoom, away it's gone, right? Because they're in mental connection with their craft, their flying saucers. According to I'm saying what other people have said. I don't know that for sure, but okay, so that's why they do that. They like it. They laugh. They like to have fun with us. Even they like to play around and have fun and play tricks on us, and that's kind of the way they are, man. That's from my experience.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes just total sense. Yeah, I mean, because I'm sure if I ended up on some other planet and I saw one of their vehicles, yeah, I probably would want to look inside and kind of check it out too. Just really make. I mean, and it's you don't have to think too hard to come to that conclusion. I totally get that.
Yeah, they'd probably love to try to drive that thing. I think it was a front end loader or something like that. They'd love to try to drive that thing. I think 2 of them got in there, and they're probably talking about, now, how do you work this thing? What do these levers do?
Right, right.
This is what they do for fun, man. It's kind of their recreation, and they get serious too. But I mean, every time this guy has showed up in my life, which has been 6 times now, every time he's got a great big smile on his face. Even when he's saving my life, he's got a big smile on his face, and he's he's my friend. Although he steals my stuff, he comes and steals my stuff. And why does he do that? I do not know. I don't know what his motivations are or what their agenda is. This is what I do not know. And I talk to other experiencers who've met a number of different types of aliens even. And those other experiencers, humans, they say, like I say, they say, we don't know what their agenda is. We don't know what they plan to do. That we cannot figure out. Nobody, no human I've ever listened to can figure out what the alien agenda is. And I can't either. I can tell you what they do. They're certainly friendly with me. And all my meetings with this guy have been in the daytime, in good light, right there. There he is right there, except he's wearing this human mask, which is not what his face really looks like. I know that. I've seen what his face really looks like, but he wears this mask to fool me. He thinks he's fooling me, but I know he's not fooling me. He's not fooling me, and he knows that I know that he's not fooling me. And I'm looking around and through his mask and his other tricks that he plays to hide himself, and he knows bloody well that I can see him, because I had experience with these visual screens and things and tricks they use. They're the tricksters. I've done them myself. Humans can actually do that. Some humans can if they're really good at it and they practice it. Some humans can put these screens up in front of themselves and make themselves invisible or make themselves look like something else. Some humans can do this. I've done it myself, and a friend of mine did it right in front of my eyes. So I know about the visual screening thing. And so he knows that I know. Maybe that's why they come and goof around with me, because they know that I know these things, and I can do these things too. And that's why they want to come and see me. I don't know. I'm just guessing at that, because we don't know why they come and visit us. And there are many contactee stories that humans tell about meeting different kinds of aliens, and it's always, they will answer some questions, but if you ask them the really big questions, they won't tell you. They won't give you an answer. There was another guy who was abducted into a spaceship, and this is a very well-known story. And he went into the spaceship, and the aliens said, the aliens did some medical examination of him, and then they asked the guy, do you have any questions for us? You can, if you ask us a question, we'll answer your question. He says, the human says, which God is on Earth is the correct God? And the alien said, oh, no, we can't tell you that. They can't, they can't tell you that, he said. That's what the alien said. There's certain things they cannot tell us. Which does not surprise me, because I think intellectually we are like their pet cat. And that's why they laugh at me sometimes, because I'm like their pet cat, and I do funny things, so they laugh at me. This is my speculation, because their IQs are like 400 or something like that, right? And I'm just a dumb human to them, right? But I like cats a lot, and I'll laugh at a cat if it does something funny. I'll laugh at him, and then I'll pet him and beat him, and I like cats, but they're funny sometimes. My neighbor's cat brings me dead mice and squirrels and birds, okay, because he likes me. He brings me these gifts, and I laugh at that. I understand the cat, and that's all he knows is bringing me a gift, right, of a dead animal. He doesn't know I don't eat them. And it's the same way I don't know what the aliens are doing. Maybe I'm probably not capable of comprehending what they're doing with my little IQ, 40-something.
Now,
that's how I see it.
Are you able to see the screen, Jim?
Am I able to? Yeah, I'm looking at your screen. Yeah.
Okay. So, because I know you're you're deep into science, and I don't know if you've met Magneticus. He's in our chat, but he's big on creating sophisticated devices and things like as you see on the screen right now. So what I want to do, and maybe you have questions for him on this, but we're going to let him explain what it is that we're looking at. I'm actually going to bring it up a little bigger so we can see. Let me move this stuff out the way.
Which way is my
And
finger?
Magneticus, you
My finger
have
pointing up.
oops, what 1 second here, I messed that up.
It says my finger pointing up.
Yeah, your finger is pointing up, and
Okay.
so now I'm gonna give you I'm gonna bring it hopefully so we
So
can
right now I'm
see.
trying out the tripod that I got. So you're like actually suspended from this up above, because the tripod reaches around and grabs onto it like that. So that's how I have you sticking up here. And so this is my contraption out of what I could find in standard parts at the hardware store. So, and as you can see, if I turn the can, see how I'm moving the string? I'm actually turning the string all the way around the web. And like I said, there's another one up above, kind of like wherever I had the magnets earlier. I'll set them down somewhere. But yeah, this is what I call Devil's Tower, because it looks like Devil's Tower when I flip it upside down. If this is up. Otherwise, it's going to look like a tornado.
Blow everybody's mind, Magneticus. I'm gonna let you go ahead and do that. I'm gonna mute myself and you take it away. What do you use this for? What? Just you already know.
Well,
just go ahead and let us know.
Well, let's see. Yesterday and day before, I ordered my machine heads. So once I get the machine heads, I can tighten up the guitar strings. And then, to my surprise, I think it was Oregon State University, put up a video 2 days ago of the spider looking thing, explaining how spiders have poor eyesight. So they use their 8 legs sitting on the web. So they have 2 sitting here and the spiders out here, or the bugs out here somewhere. They can tell it's out here. Yeah, did you see it? And it's got like little, like a sponge.
Saying how they hear potential, they hear using music potentially, or I saw that.
Yeah. I was like, what? Got all this trouble, and somebody else came up with the same idea at the same time. What do you know? Because it happens. It does happen. 2 people can come up with the same idea, and they'll come about it 2 different ways. You know, so that's where I was getting at, is I was thinking about how you could put the string in the can. You know what I mean? Pull the string tight, and then you can hear from a distance or whatever. So you know how I had the record on there, and I was playing the record, so I was thinking about how to get tension on there so it could actually put the sound into the string, into the can, and then make it louder by the can. And then the sprain will, Oh, you've been to Australia. You'll love this one. Hold on a second. Got to get me a piece of pipe. Gotta get me a piece of pipe, and then I can do it. My neighbor's gonna hate me. Can't do it. Not gonna do it because it's gonna be like really loud if I do it. But I'm sure you get the didgeridoo thing with it. Yeah.
So he says,
who says?
Maggie M10 said, is that a tin of tuna in the middle? Is that a tuna can?
No, it's a bean can or something. I don't know what it was. Soup can. Standard can. Nothing special. Kite string. Clothesline pulleys. Iron wire. And then a bunch of PVC fittings. So I can set that right there. I don't know if you can see that or not. Right there. I have a hard time seeing what I'm looking at here. I don't know if I can see the brick down here. Where is the camera? Well, the camera's there. So dirt. So that's looking over there. Okay, so the brick's right there. And then I can set all these bricks in here, and then I can put this whole... Which way is this point? Boom.
Well, you got everybody intrigued, man. Atticus, I want you to know that. And Long Island Bigfoot, thanks for coming in. Appreciate you. And so, just blow our mind with some examples of how this thing works. And you got
So
all
that's
the
how my
stuff around
tripod.
here. Just kind of blow our minds for a minute.
That's how my tripod's attached on there. Is right there. So the wife was all worried because it was only a foot tall, and I'm just like, you act like I don't have another tripod sitting over here that I could set it on top of, you know? And then I got this where I could set it all the way up there. And then this one had to do with transducers. And we're thinking about if you could hang the transducer from multiple points up in the ceiling. And then you put your plate on there and it acts as a speaker.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What's going on with the Dr. Pepper bottle?
Oh, the spinneret?
Yeah,
That's my spinneret. Okay, so if you put your line inside the bottle, right? You don't have to you know how some people they try to make it all nice and organized? No, you just wad it into the bottle. And then right now there's a knot right in there that keeps it from going through the hole in the lid. And then as I go around weaving this web, I can just pull a little bit of line, and then that acts as my my bobbin, like a bobbin. But I call it a spinneret because this is a spider, and you know, spiders have spinnerets. So
And
it
Jim,
just makes it
you're in the
convenient.
conversation, so you can ask. Heat Magneticus can hear you for sure. So, if you have any questions about any of
Holy
this, you can
crikey,
ask
there's
him
like
anything you want.
184 messages.
There's some theory that we can levitate weight with sound. There's that theory about gravity, involving gravity. I've studied a lot of gravity. I'm fascinated by it. And there's that theory. There's another theory that we can make anti-gravity by electromagnetic means, by spinning mercury and having currents, electrical currents
Mercury.
flowing in certain directions and make anti-gravity that way. That's another one. And then there's what Bob Lazar says about gravity and how the aliens do anti-gravity. I like Bob Lazar's way. That sounds really cool, man. Yeah, I really studied Bob Lazar, and I think he's the real deal for sure. He's a very intelligent guy, Bob Lazar is. And his description of anti-gravity using element 115 is pretty fascinating to me. I'll tell you, it sounds pretty cool. And Lazar was right about a lot of stuff, you know. Yeah, he's been right about a whole bunch of things.
These things are like the coolest things ever. These Whirlpool drain pumps, minus all the other stuff in them.
Talk about it. There's a couple questions too. So Simon is wanting to ask a question, hasn't asked it yet, but Maggie's asking, is this hard to build? And
Not really.
Simon's question hasn't come up yet.
Not
Simon,
really.
you're
When you know
open.
the math.
You can ask whatever you want.
Holy crikey! There's like 197 messages I missed on chat right now. That's how far behind I am in the chat. 198. I'm not even going to try to catch up. Forget it. I told you I start talking and I forget. I forget that. You know. Why can't I find that?
Simon, you can type the message in the chat, and we'll just ask it to him directly.
These things are cool too. Gyroscopes. Everybody should own one of those. So yeah, that's how I do these. I can just stuff the string up in the bottle, and then you can just pull out however much you need. You can actually just throw the bottle to somebody, and the line will just, you know, come right out of the bottle. So no rhyme or reason. You just shove it in the hole. Shove it in the hole.
You still have the phonograph set up, or did you disassemble
No,
that?
I took that all down. That's because it was sitting on the box. So now I got it sitting over there on the trash can, and over here on my chair.
And Maggie wants to know, what do you call this contraption?
Yeah, a contraption. That's what everybody calls it, a contraption. You know, what does it do? I don't know. You know, I got my my ball hanging out here with a ring. Find my finger. Now that's a 1976 quarter right there. Believe it or not. Was. Till I smashed it with a hammer 100 times. 100,000 times felt like.
Where do you get the so what something just hits you and and you have a vision and it's like, okay, I'm gonna
You,
put this together, or
you remember last night when I sat there and said, you know, I watched Close Encounters and I feel like the guy that was building Devil's Tower in his house. And I
yeah,
said, if you flip it upside down, it looks like Devil's Tower. Because you can
right,
see the
right,
base is smaller than the top right now. Usually
right,
that is the base and that is the top. And where my tripod is hanging, I can actually hang from that point in the lines. And it's just ours. I shouldn't say lines because it's a line that makes that spider up there. You know, where does it start? Right there, where the 2-liter bottle is tied in. That's where the start and end of the rope is. You know, the snake eating its tail or whatever. So it goes
right.
around to all 12 points one time. And you got to use prime numbers when doing this. Like when you use like 6 or 12 or 18, 24, 36. Because like this, you know, instead of just being, you know, 1, 2, 3, I could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I did that wrong. So it should be 1, 2, 3. Yeah, no, it is 2. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's how I do 36 around the circle. But that takes a lot of rope. Because there is, oh, was that 100 foot? Yeah, that's like 100 feet of rope right there. Plus
Oh,
whatever's
that's
in the
crazy.
bottom. Yeah.
Can
Simon,
I ask some questions?
Yeah, go
definitely.
ahead.
Questions? Oh, is this a communication device or is it a levitation device?
Oh, do you want me to put my antennas in there? Is that what you're asking?
I'm just asking what
Are
is
you
your
asking
goal?
if are you
Is it
asking if I
communication?
can turn it into an antenna by changing the rope to wire? Yes, you're right. I can make an antenna by changing the rope to wire.
Okay.
Well, what I'm doing is I'm trying to show um how because if you try to take this bottle, right, and you try to drill it into this brick, right, it's going to be hard to hold it right here in this one spot. So when I put it out here, I get a lot of leverage on it, and I can put a lot of weight on this rack. And then when I twist it, the contents of the bottle are forced out, but they can't go anywhere because it's like a hummingbird feeder. And as long as you can keep that bottleneck there and just keep twisting the weight there, it will grind a hole through the rock. And then I have my high voltage transformers here somewhere, so I convert the low voltage to high voltage like your car ignition coil. I charge up the high voltage capacitors, and then when the Leyden jar discharges through the neck of the bottle into the rock, it basically burns the rock using EDM. So
Yeah. Okay. You see, I've thought of this also. Are you trying to? You're trying to drill a hole in the.
I'm trying to prove the point that maybe they didn't use copper tools at all. So all these experts that want to say there's no way they could use copper tools, I'm sitting there going, well, maybe they used clay pots, you know. Wouldn't that be just a wonderful revelation if I can show that a clay pot would drill a hole through a cement brick, you know what I mean?
I totally get what you're saying. I totally know what you're doing there. You watch what's that guy Uncharted X on YouTube? The guy who
No,
goes
I don't have it.
and talks about the holes that the Egyptians drilled. The
Right.
holes they drilled in stone. You're talking about that. Okay,
Yeah.
I've thought about that also. Yes, I see what
So
you're doing.
so
Okay,
this is why
I get it.
I have to make my insulator. I have to make my insulator web, and then I have to have my conductor web that goes into the center. And then when I put my spark plug going in through like a Leyden jar, you know what Leyden jar is, right? Yeah, you know what
Yeah,
Leyden jar is. So the wire's going to
I do.
connect
I'm
on the
an
bottle
engineer.
here. Yeah, and then I got my conductive fluid with my iron oxide. Boom, iron oxide, black iron oxide, conductive at high voltage. So, and that will discharge. And if you look at Coral Castle, you'll see these white burn marks in the rocks. And that's what keyed me in, is because I showed somebody, I don't know where it's at right now, but I have a rock that I cut with a high voltage current, and it has that bright white marks on it. I mean, it's like literally white, like this pipe. It's just white. And
Yeah.
so that's what got. And then I made all sorts of like different little all sorts of like different little rock hammers and stuff that use electromagnets and high voltage current. And yeah.
I've been
And
thinking along
that's
that same line, my friend. Can I tell you what I've been thinking about this? Because I have a degree in materials engineering. Okay, so I know something about this, and how the Egyptians could have done this drilling of holes. And I suspect, maybe this is just a hypothesis, but maybe they use direct current, DC, at the tip of the drilling device. Let's say it's a copper tube, right? A 4-inch diameter copper tube, and they're putting it on the surface of the rock, and they want to drill that down through the rock fast. Okay, apply a DC voltage. Now, because what you want, I'm thinking right at the surface, right at the surface of the stone, if you could disrupt the bonds, their ionic bonds, are the type of, in a crystal you have ionic bonds, which means
right.
there's DC voltage involved here. It's like, the old pith ball experiment.
That's why I said high voltage. It's still DC.
Okay,
It's just really high voltage. Instead of 12 volts DC, we're talking about 1200 volts DC. You know what I mean? There's a little bit of difference. So,
okay,
and trust me, you don't want to get nailed by 1200 volts DC. It kind of hurts.
I think you might do better with a lower DC voltage, and I mean it could even be very low.
The thing?
If you found and a frequency, DC voltage, and a frequency.
Now I wish I had this all
right
sitting
at the
still.
surface of the rock, right at the surface of the stone or rock, whatever it is, or I wouldn't use concrete.
If I had,
use rock.
If I had the magnet wheel set up with the switch mechanism, I'd show you how I'm, because you can't just run straight DC to the high voltage transformer. So I run pulse DC to the transformer, and that's where I get the high voltage spark. And since the Leyden jar effect, the conductive path gets narrowed down to just the mouth of the bottle, which will make it hotter in that spot. And then the little Egyptian Ankh shape there, that holds your bottle, and that's your ground rod around the, so you can have an area around the bottleneck, and then it will constantly just burn in that hole. So
I can see what you're trying to do.
I just know it works.
Okay.
I just know it works. I've already done it, so I know it works. So it's just a matter of making my toys a little bit bigger. You know what I mean? Instead of where is it? My somewhere I have a plumb bob around here that I drove into a piece of granite by picking it up about that high with water. That's all the more I'd pick up that plumb bob was an ounce plumb bob about that big, and I had a little water fountain that fill up a cup, and then I'd lift up the 8-ounce plumb bob and then just drop it. And I actually dug a hole in the rock, just dropping that plumb bob from like that far. Not far at all. Just picking it up and dropping it, picking it up and dropping it, picking
So
it
that
up and
was an
dropping it.
impact. Okay. Yeah.
But that
Okay,
was
I get it.
using
I get
water.
it. See,
That was using my water clock, Egyptian water clock, where it's like the water fills up the cup, but then it fills up a second cup when it starts tipping. So that way it doesn't take much water to keep the weight up in the air, and then it drops it. Suddenly just drops it all
Yep.
by the drain. You
Good.
had to like have
Okay,
it
I get
drained
it.
just right. It was like, I don't know, it's hard to explain because it was like, you know, you had to have like, you could have like 2 ounces of water pick up the 8 ounce weight, but you had to transfer like 1 ounce farther down the lever so you could hold the same 8 ounces of weight up off the ground. And then that last ounce of water just drained out as it was coming down. And, you know, yeah, it was. So then I got
I get
thinking
it.
of how to hook it up to the current. Huh?
You're using impact. I get that. Now,
Well,
what if
I'm
you
using impact
combine the
electrical.
impact with
Electrical.
and
Exactly.
yeah, combine the
Then you get the spark in the hammer by touching it about that hard. Where, you know, instead of taking the hammer and hitting it really hard to make sparks, you just got to barely tap it, you know. And
yeah. See, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know, I know the theory of machining and all that stuff. You know, I know material science. I know that stuff. Now, okay.
So that's why I always tell lawnmowers.
You got so
Lawnmower
many
magnetos.
variables there. So many variables. You know, the current and the force of the impact and all these. Now, what we see though in those drilled holes in the Egyptian rocks, right? What we see is the striations on the inside of the hole have quite a wide. They're quite wide. They're like a millimeter wide, something like that, which means that they were penetrating that rock very quickly. Okay, every revolution that thing was going down 1 millimeter. Now, how the hell did they do that is the question. Well, they weren't doing it by force, or it was probably a combination of force plus, I think, direct current, and maybe even throw in some sound. I don't know. So you got so many variables there, but
That
yeah,
bottle doesn't weigh much at all right now. That bottle doesn't weigh much at all right now. But as soon as I put this rack on it, and then I start hanging a couple 100 pounds on here, how much force is being applied to the mouth of that bottle? I mean, if four Coke bottles can pick up a car, you know, how much weight can I put on one bottle pushing it straight into a rock? You know what I mean? And that's the nice thing about it is once you get it balanced, it's like, and then you start singing. For me, I start singing that song, "Rockabye Baby in the Treetop." If the bough breaks, the cradle will fall, or whatever. That's what I think when I'm playing with this, because all it takes is a little bit of wind and it'll blow it over. So
I wouldn't use glass as a drill bit, personally. I wouldn't.
I'd use clay pots if I had the clay and the ability to fire it, you know. But I'm just trying out the idea to see if it can be done. I haven't tried it with a glass bottle before. I mean, but I've done some crazy.
A copper tube, a copper tubing. What about using that as the drill rather than glass?
You mean, oops, not on the tripod anymore. Sorry, I have a hard time doing this one hand. I mean, like that? Copper pipe in there, like.
Well, yeah, the copper tubing is a conductor, and if you get electricity, okay,
I could put some cement in the bottom of the bottle, put the pipe in there, but like I said, it's more like a Leyden jar effect, and it will use the sand. It'll use the sand as a conductive path, and I know for a fact I've watched the current jump right through the bottle and right out the top and over to another one before. So, and that's when I was shown. I don't know. I was just shown different things, different times. So, but that's, you know, I just know Ben Franklin did a lot of, he would actually hang the bottle in a tripod, something like that, and then see how it would strike into the ground. And I forget how many people were killed by Benjamin Franklin's um, lightning experiments, like the kite on there, the key on the string, on the kite string. You know, people don't realize you're supposed to stand inside the barn holding onto a piece of dry string, not wet string, dry string. Wet string's outside, but that was the point of the experiment, to show that the lightning could hit the kite, go down to the ground rod, and not come into the barn via the dry line. So, and that's why I started thinking, how am I gonna, I gotta make a insulated web, and then I have to have the conductive web, and then hold on to the bottle at the same time. So, let me take you out.
Well, it's interesting, and I think I have another idea, is that you might be using your intuition, and there was another guy doing sort of experiments like you're doing, but he used his intuition, and he was able to create anti-gravity. He was able to levitate objects, but he was using his intuition. So, which means you're doing the right thing. I'm saying, because you're using your intuition, and that's good. Okay, that's a good thing. I've done that too. I've solved some problems in industry, problems in mechanical and chemical engineering, and my boss, he couldn't figure out how I solved the problems. And I said, oh, well, I just see it. I just see what's going on, right? And nobody else could solve these problems. I solved them, and my boss thought I was magic or something, because I would come up with these solutions to problems that nobody else could solve, right? And my boss thought I was doing it by some kind of intuition or magic or something. But in my mind, I think, well, no, in my mind, I'm creating images of what I'm doing. So I'm actually assembling machinery in my mind, right? And I'm doing three-dimensional thinking. I'm doing three-dimensional modeling in my mind. Okay, now you could be doing that as well. I don't know, but I did save a few $1 million for my employers by coming up with these solutions to problems that nobody else could solve. So intuition does work. So I like what you're doing there, man. Just go ahead, whatever you're thinking. I don't know. I mean,
you see the weight on there?
I don't.
You see the weight on that bottle? I'll guarantee that's nowhere near what this weighs. Guarantee it. It weighs a lot more than that weight, just because of the black sand. That's the other reason why I use that black sand, because it weighs more than anything else other than like lead and gold. But where you're gonna find gold sand and lead sand, you know what I mean? So, and this is the one that I used for pumping air, and then I use airbags to lift things.
Where's the time machine prototype, man? I know you're working on that too. Where's the?
I'm gonna build you a watch. I'm gonna build you a watch. I'm just gonna build you a watch. I'm gonna send it to you. I'm gonna say, here's your time machine.
Look. Look, I got you. That's a magnetic humor. Yeah, I mean, you're doing, man, and it's nice to hear you two talk about this, man, because you guys understand each other, and some of this stuff goes over a lot of people's heads, but you're getting validation, from another scientific mind, a mind that thinks outside the box, and that's great to see, man. And everybody's enjoying what you're doing. There's some people that are worried, like D Worm, who thinks you're about to split the center of the earth.
Maybe.
And we had someone said you're about to. Lex Diaz said you're gonna open the Stargate in your apartment, and
yeah. And you know what people told me when I showed them those numbers I showed you? They said I opened the portal to hell or something. So we're still here, and it's been years later, and I don't see you know, hell and brimstone everywhere. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
He does have a channel, D Worm.
Under
He
this
does have a
name,
channel.
let's see all my
Who
magnets,
has a channel?
my GMO corn, my GMO children. Look at all those magnets. That was all the magnets on my flywheel. Take all those off, it makes it so much lighter. And then I went and got some guitar strings. I got my machine head ordered, so I'm so stoked because once I get those, I can tension the guitar strings. That's what I'm doing with the guitar strings. Get out from underneath that rock. I don't know if you can see that or not, but I took all the ends of the strings and I hooked them all together. And then when I get my 6 machine heads, I can tension it like the big old spider that the organ did.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody says I unlocked the gates of hell with that right there. Yes, yes, they did.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, you're on to some stuff, man. I mean, just like Jim said, the intuition, it just comes in your mind to create it and then
And if
do
you ever
it
play
and
pool and you
keep
can't
doing
find the
that.
8-ball, you ever play pool and you can't find the 8-ball, you know where I've been. Ha ha. No, not really. I didn't steal that. I was given to me as a birthday present last year, I think. Because
Yeah,
during the epidemic, I was talking about how I wanted to go to a bar and steal the 8-ball, but the only problem is you couldn't play pool because there was no pool cues. Because everybody's afraid to touch other things that other people touch. So, yeah.
well,
So
you're
my
on to
friend
something,
ordered me
man.
one.
Just like D Worm says, stay after it, Magneticus, and who knows what you'll come up with at some point. Who knows what you'll be showing us. You might have something
Yeah,
that might actually create a black hole or something right here on
who
camera.
knows?
And I'd love for that to happen right here on this channel. That would be obviously awesome and
I'm not
viral.
gonna play with
So,
those projects anymore. That caused the major camera problems. Well, that's part of the problem with when I have the wheel running too, is with the high voltage transformers, it messes with the audio. You'll hear it running and be like, so annoying.
shout out to the
So
Dogman
annoying.
UK.
There's like 400 messages I didn't read. Holy moly. I'm gonna have to remember to play back the last hour or so.
Yeah, Sav.
Wear socks with
Have a good night,
sandals.
Sav.
Oh my gosh. Yes, I do. I do.
No,
And
no,
I
no.
wear.
Sovereign Cosby Wild Man. He was saying good night. He was going to bed.
Oh no. Somebody took notice of my slippers and socks. They noticed I wear socks and slippers.
Oh, okay.
And these ones I got to sew up, but oh well. Love sewing up my socks. They last
Well,
longer.
like everybody's saying, we know the Men in Black and probably other government entities are tuning in. They're figuring out that the call-in shows the place to come disseminate information and to find out who's who in this space. And you're now on the list if you already weren't
Who's
before,
got the woo?
Magneticus. I'm sure you are.
Who's got? You already know I was on the list. I told you that before. I
And
have
with
told
that,
you that before. I've told you all before. I'm like, my wife used to tell me I was paranoid because I said, if you take notice of the black vans following you around, just don't pay any attention to them. And then she said I was paranoid. And then one night I was driving along and I said, I'm going to have my tail for dinner. And she said, just because people call you the cat man doesn't mean you've grown a tail and you can eat it for dinner. And I said, no, the car behind us is telling us. I said, wherever we go, that car is going to follow us. And she's like, no, it won't. And I'm like, okay, well, pick somewhere to go eat. But keep in mind, we're not going to eat there. We're going to go somewhere else and eat. So she picks a place and we go there. And sure enough, the guy in the car gets out. And so we went to place number 2, which is Olive Garden. And as we were standing in line, I looked over at him and it just like, I'm talking to you, Rob, you know what I mean? I'd be like, nobody should have to eat alone. Why don't you join us for dinner?
Right, right. Well,
Now do you see
here's the
how
thing.
now do you see how I had my tell for dinner? I mean, if he wants to know what I'm up to, I mean, wouldn't sitting at the dinner table with me be the best place to be? You know?
Here's the thing. We know, and this is what I this is, and with this on the screen, this is one of the things that just one of the points to make, right? So, Bob Lazar, and we talked about that earlier. Bob Lazar was doing some of the same things, just kind of creating things that came to his mind, and guess what? He got a knock on the door to be invited into whatever it was he was doing over at Area 51, if you want to believe the story. And with that being said, they keep your eye on you for reasons of that, because they want the brightest minds to work on these secret projects. But then also, the flip side to that, they also want to make sure that you're not discovering a way to create free energy, like
There's no such thing as
Tesla.
free energy. There's
Yeah,
no it's not free. I mean, I guess technically, I guess once you build it, it might,
right.
not have a high price tag on it, but it's like with Tesla, people don't realize they tore down the tower because they made the connection that it was affecting the weather. So then they built HARP up in Alaska, you know what I mean? And I think I showed you, I showed you a place in Australia. I said, look in the pentagram in Australia, I think. I said, there's a big antenna sitting there, you know what I mean? And Exmouth, or whatever it's called.
That might be in your
Exmouth.
drafts still. I don't know if
Yeah,
I got
right.
that one.
I know, huh?
Exactly.
Because I send you all sorts of stuff sometimes, and then I don't
Yeah, I
say
don't
anything.
recall that one there, but
Okay,
you do
maybe
send
I
me a
didn't
lot
send
of
it.
ish. You
You're
definitely
right,
do.
right?
Which is cool. Which is cool. That's why I told you keep sending it, man, because I'm intrigued by it. Like I said, numbers
You
and
know
all
what?
those sorts of things.
You should go to where'sgeorge.com and enter in that dollar with all the sevens in it.
You said do what?
Go to where'sgeorge.com
Mm-hmm.
and enter in that dollar with all the sevens in it.
Where's George.com? Let me see.
Yep. Money tracking.
I'm gonna
Money
go
tracking.
there. Where's George.com?
Because
Okay.
if you enter in that bill number, you're gonna find a note on it that said they got sent off to Texas. And we know who we know in Texas. And he never put it in there, and it's been a year. That's why I sent that picture, showing that I entered it last year on 11/10/2022.
Oh, okay.
And I kept waiting for him to ping it, and then once it's pinged, he hands it off to somebody else. They're supposed to enter it, you know what I mean? And we get to see how far this dollar gets to travel from my hands to whoever else's hands. We don't know who's touching the bill. We just know general area of where it showed up, you know what I mean? So it should be showing up in Texas, but it's not showing up in Texas, so let's have it show up in California.
So the Where's George bill. So is this so you're able to enter any dollar bill in here, any serial number. Is that what it is? Okay. All right. Let me I don't have a one on me. I don't think, or maybe I do. Let me check.
Yeah, there's one for
I want to
you.
do this live on camera. Why not?
0.
Why not?
See that? Let's do this one.
Okay, let me do that.
Do not advertise on the notes, or they want $500. Just so you know.
L
09362910L. And if a whole bunch of people enter this in there, it's going to void it. And then the year is
hold on. I'm going to
2009.
you out real quick. Hold on, because I want to bring this up on camera.
2013.
Where's George?
2013.
All right, so we've entered this serial number in the website. I haven't heard of this, so
Oh, ouch!
I'm gonna say no because I don't have that bill.
I'll just say you have it. I ain't
Just
gonna
say you
spend
do.
it. Yeah, say you have it.
All right,
Trust me.
and
I Had it for years now, so it hasn't gone nowhere.
It says that bill doesn't have any tracking history in the database.
Like I said, it's been sitting on my shelf for like years here. So
okay.
that's
Let
why
me
I said
check
use the
another
one.
bill here.
Here, let's do this one. L 7777 4 sevens.
Hold on, I have to go back here. All right, L7777.
Should be 4 sevens.
Yeah.
4 sevens. 1 7 7 2 2 L, and it's 2009, I think.
All right, I probably entered that wrong.
Try 2013.
No, L7777.
Should be 4 sevens.
Yep.
A 1 2 sevens. No, it should be only 1 7.
Okay, that's what happened.
It's 4 sevens, a 1 1 7, a pair of 2s.
And then L, got it. All right, let's check
And
that
then
out.
letter L.
Yeah, it says we're sorry to report your bill doesn't have any tracking history in our database.
Let me
What's wrong with
see
your
here.
money,
Hold on.
Magneticus?
Look in that message that I sent you with the Wendy's card. And it's the bottom bill.
Is the one you just sent here now?
No. I sent you a text message with the there should have been the 6-pointed star, 5-pointed star, Where's George dollar on top, a Wendy's card, and then there's a dollar on the bottom, and that's the one with all the sevens in it, is the one on the bottom.
Okay.
I can't remember the one on the top. But it's like a 2009, 2013, something like that. Oh, it's an LC. That's what the problem is. It's LC. That's what it is. The Where's George is the LL. The box end note. That's what it's called when the first letter and the last letter are the same letter. It's a box end note. Or a book end note.
Okay.
So it should have been L77771722C. And it's like a 2009 or a 2013. And it should be being sent to Texas.
Let's see. C. Okay, we found your bill's history in our database. Just one last step. To see the tracking history, please add a short note about this bill. Magneticus has it. Let me see.
Exactly. No, Roderick has it. Is who has it. Should have it. That's who should have it, is Roderick. Be like, Roderick, what happened to you?
Okay, we got some information on this. We got a hit. Let me see what you end up getting on this website. I don't know if I can make this bigger. See how it shows on screen. Yeah, you can barely see it. So I'll just read it. It says, welcome, it appears, it says, Where's George bill tracking report? And it says, welcome, it appears that you are not currently okay, so what? So they want me to register. I'm not going to do that. Okay. Okay, here we go. So this bill has traveled at least 832 miles in 1 year, 3 days, 8 minutes at an average of 2.3 miles per day. The bill is now 832 miles from its starting location. That's because they think it's here with me, but it's not. It's now 832 miles from the starting location.
From each other.
Okay, so that's
That's how far we are from each other. It's 800 miles.
Initially entered, in Olympia, Washington. Okay, back in November of 2022. Okay, so that's what it's doing then. So it requires the person who has the bill to visit the site and enter the information on where it's at.
Just enter the information. You don't have to sign up or anything, unless you want to be notified about it. You know what I mean? You know, I mean, I could turn around and add a note on it now, but everybody's hearing this, so they're probably going to all go and try to add it in there, and then it's going to get removed from the database. But all those stars that I sent Roderick are in that database. They all got notes
Okay.
like that in there. You know, so it was like I told him, like, you know, enter it. It just takes a second to enter it. You know, didn't enter
So
it. Waited the year. So
so I see. Yeah, it
congratulations,
says
Dad.
the note you left on there being shipped off to Texas. Okay, I got it. I
Exactly.
got it. So yeah, okay. So and then what you would end up doing is checking your dollar bill to see if someone has entered it in the database at some previous time, and
Yep.
that way you can see where it's been at the very least. And
Exactly.
if you choose to enter in information, you can add to the history of it. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, that's actually pretty cool to know, though, because we have dollar bills
So
all
you
the
pass.
time laying around in our pockets. So yeah.
So you pass the buck. You know what I mean? You just pass the buck, and as long as the person adds it in there, you know, or you spend it while you're traveling, you know, it's kind of like the guy said that created the site. He started out as he found one that was written on the around the edge of it. You know what I mean? It was like written in whoops, can't see my finger. Right in that area right here along the border. And I have
Right.
ones that are the same way. I have one that if you give it to the right person, it's worth all sorts of tools, but it's just $1. You know what I mean? You spend it at 7-Eleven, it's worth 10 dimes, 4 quarters, 20 nickels. But to the right person, it's worth a lot of tools. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's pretty awesome, man. It's pretty awesome
right?
stuff. So that's
Yep.
yeah. You what do you say? Where's Juan at? I hope Juan's in the chat because I'm about to say his saying here, man. You bring in the heat. You're not bringing the sleep. Shout out to Area 51 for coining the phrase. So interesting stuff, man. Yeah, build something crazy, man, for us next week, man. Y'all know you got this going on. You have to do your testing and everything you need to do with this contraption
Right.
that you have, which you said it's a contraption, so I don't feel bad calling it that till you give it a name.
I mean, I don't know
And
what to call it. You know what I mean? I had people ask me about the phonograph, and I'm like, I mean, isn't it kind of obvious what I was doing? And you know what I mean? I'm like,
let
but
me
I guess some people never seen a phonograph, maybe. You know what I mean? I
look.
didn't know how to explain to them that if the power went out, my phonograph would still work. You know,
Let,
I could
let,
just push my foot pedal. That's why I kind
let
of like
me
the woo pedal.
let me dispel the myth here. Derek Galloway is wanting to spread. Paramarv, I tried to call in to Rob block my number. I haven't blocked anyone at this point, and I don't intend on doing it. And I hope I don't ever get put in a position where I'm forced to do something like that. But I'll tell you what, I don't block anybody, and that's how it is as of today. So yeah, yeah. Derek Galloway's just talking, man. He's not being truthful. So hopefully he's joking about that. But
It looks like it because he said something about you sending you too many swinger pictures or something like that.
yeah, because Derek obviously texts me all the time. I can show it on camera right now. You want me?
Right.
I can bring receipts, Derek, and show that you text me and call all the time, buddy. So let's cut it out. Let's cut it out.
Sometimes I feel like I'm blowing up your phone, so that's why it's like I'll write
Nah,
out the message, but then I don't send it. You know what I mean?
dude, send it because this is the show line, and I
Right.
promote on here all day.
Right.
For you to call it, send the messages. You can do this 24 hours a day.
Well,
I
you
love
know, I'm
when
not
I see
really
one
into
come in. I love it.
you know, I'm really not into what was going on earlier, but you know, that's when I kind of like felt like I was gonna kind of pipe up is because it was like, you know, yeah, I kind of already knew that about him, you know, what you showed me,
Hmm.
and you know, I was getting that, you know, it was just all about the money, all about the money, all about the money, and you know, sit there and you know, yeah, all I can say is. I sent him that gift card. I told him when he got to 3301, because that's that cicada number. It's like cicada 3301. I said, you get that number, I'll buy you lunch, give you a Wendy's gift card. You know what I mean? So I could do the same thing. I could go get a Visa gift card. You know what I mean? And I'll be like, hey, Rob, enter this bill at Where's George? You know what I mean? And you go there and you'll find the numbers on the back of the gift card. You know what I mean? So
That's what's up, man. Look, I'm all about, my mind never stops working, dude, and that's kind of probably why people are like, man, you just do this show after work, because my mind doesn't stop working. I'm always like wanting to, figure things out and look, hold on. Let me dispel another myth real quick.
What happened here now?
Hey, funny thing is, Rob like the swing. Dude, I don't like your swing picks, man. I don't like your swing picks.
Is he really sending you like? Oh
no,
man,
he doesn't. He's just joking.
Oh, okay.
He's just playing.
Oh my god.
He probably don't even own a swing, man. He's a bot anyway. He's a script written in Python 3.0. So he's not even human. He's not even human. He doesn't have a swing. He can't have a swing. He's a bot. He's powered by Chat GPT 3.5. So he can't actually own a swing because he's not a physical person.
Oh man.
He's an algorithm. He's part of an algorithm. He's within the DoD servers. Like he's a script written in the DoD server, and he trolls our chats. That's what he does.
That just makes me laugh because that's what I used to do. I used to record everything for some reason. Not that I needed to, but like I told the wife, I was like, I bet the NSA will copy me.
Yeah, that's what exactly it is.
Because it was like when you seen how organized my bot was, it was just like people were like, how'd you remember all this stuff? And I'm like, because I had my bot write it down in a file. All I got to do is click on your name in my file folder, and everything you ever said in chat is like sitting there looking at me. I can tell you what you said at what time, what day, it's all there.
I bet you if you went to Derek's house, it would be just like a building full of servers.
You never know.
There's no physical person there.
It was like, it was like love before thinking I was calling her a guy. And I'm like, well, I don't know. You might be a bot for all I know. You know what I mean? Until I got that human voice. And even then I question it, So you got to trick them with things like the wound is wound. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because robots struggle with wound and wound because they're spelled exactly the same, and it has a hard time differentiating one from the other, one and in the same sentence especially. I know with Facebook I used to do this is a line of text, and then my robot would say a line of text is this. It was the same words, but it just rearranged the words, and the Facebook robots never caught on to the fact that I'm reposting the same data over and over and over and over again. And then I had the one Facebook robot trained to just randomly pick people on my friends list, right? So it might pick Love Be Love, and then it might pick Angels Are Alive, because that's what I'm looking at right now on the screen. And then my robot will pick one of the ad-lib lines, so it says I need two people, so it'll put Deb in one or Love You Love in one spot, Angels in the other spot, and then one might be changed in the other with a butcher knife or something, or a fork, or just some random object, because I had like this long list of just whatever to fill in the ad-libs with. So, and then just pick a random number, and it just pick whatever word was that random number. Right. Were you able to look at that Excel file with all the numbers where I sent the link?
No, I haven't opened up this Excel file, man. Okay. I'm totally not great working with the Excel, man.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out if the file will open for somebody else. You know what I mean? I mean, it opens for me, but I created the file, so that's why I'm like, because if it does, you should have a list of like 2,592. Yeah, 2592. That should be the number of combinations in there. Crazy.
I'll try it because I have numbers and that should open up an Excel file. So I'll try to open it up. Now we got Jim. I know you're hanging in here. If you could, because we're about to wrap this up in a minute, can you take us out with the one of your great experiences? Do you have one that you can give us to take us home?
He's really quiet.
I had to shift
I
back
can hear now.
back to my phone. I had my phone off. Now, okay, what's up?
So yeah, we're getting ready to close this out in just a second here. I was wondering if you had like a good story for us or something to take us home.
Okay, I told you the two first times I met my alien friend.
Yes.
I told you about that. Okay, now let me see. Trying to think what happened. The third time I met him, the fourth time. Oh boy, 4 or 5, 6. Okay, the fourth time I met the alien, the tall white guy. And when I saw him standing at his full height and all this. Okay, what happened was that day, this was only a few years ago, about 4 years ago, in the middle of the winter, I drove my 99 Ford Explorer up into the snow in the mountains, right? Now, the Ford Explorer is not a good bush basher. It's got four-wheel drive, but it's really crappy it doesn't work very well. But anyway, so I did something stupid. I drove into the snow, and I was going up higher and higher, and the snow was getting deeper and deeper, and I got stuck real bad. Okay, and the temperature was below freezing, like 27 degrees, something like 26 degrees Fahrenheit, something like that. And the thing was stuck, really stuck. And I tried to pull it out with a cable come along that I had, but no way, I couldn't get it out. So I realized, okay, I got to walk home. That was my only choice. I did. It would be no good to try to stay in the vehicle all night. It's just getting too cold. So okay, I figure I got to walk home. Now, I was wearing sandals, no socks. I got braces on both my ankles because I can't walk very well, and I had a good cane. And I figured I got to walk, you know. So I started walking on this snow on the road, and I'm walking and walking, and I'm thinking, I was thinking that I was going to die for sure, right? I thought this is the end of my life. I'm dead. But I kept walking because if I fall down and break a leg, I'm done, right? So, anyways, I'm walking and walking and trying to walk at some speed without slipping and falling down. And I'm walking and walking. Now I'm walking through a forest, and I could see up ahead on the road. The road I was walking on kind of curved back and forth, like meandered back and forth through the forest. And I looked up. When I came around a corner and I could see farther ahead, I'd look up the road as far as I could see to the next turn, and this would be a few hundred yards. I'd look up the road, and I looked up there, and I saw him. He was standing at the next bend in the road. My alien friend. He's standing there, a full 8 feet tall, dressed in normal human clothing, and he's standing there and he's smiling at me. He's sort of waving like, come on, keep walking, you know. I said, what? I'm thinking, what the hell are you doing? Man, oh man. And I, okay, so I kept walking, and I got into a rhythm of swaying my body back and forth because I can't walk very well. So I'm walking and walking, kept going. And then I would come around another bend, and I would come around this bend, and I would look up ahead again. You know, it might be 200-300 yards up the road. I can see that far, and there he is again, standing there, 8 feet tall, with a big smile on his face, waving at me. Come on, you can do it. Come on. So okay, I kept walking and walking and walking. I came around another bend. There he was again. Standing down there with a big smile on his face, waving at me. Come on, you can do it. So I just kept walking. I walked 2 miles, which for me is major to walk 2 miles. I've got sandals and no socks, and my legs are turning purple, and my feet are turning black. It's like like going down to 25 degrees Fahrenheit, something like that. And I just kept walking. And I came out. Finally, I came out of the forest, and I saw a guy on a quad. Now, by this time, the sun is going down. But here's this guy on a quad, and he has a girlfriend on the back of the quad, and he was kind of doing donuts or something, and I hurried up to him, and I had to jump in front of him and grab the front of his quad because he wouldn't stop, okay? And I could have died, so I thought, okay, I'll stop this guy and get a ride from him. So I stopped him by grabbing onto the front of his quad and looking him in the face and said, I really need a ride or I'm going to die. Okay, do you understand me? And he didn't want to give me a ride. He was really, he didn't want to give me a ride. I said, come on. I climbed on the front of his quad. I said, come on, just take me up the road here. So he did. He was very pissed off at me, but he gave me a ride anyway. A little ways up the road, there was some more people. Now this was some families. There was like 3 families, and they had a big fire going there. They're cooking dinner, and this was like sundown, sundown, And I still, for me to walk home from there is like no way. It's like another 10 miles. No way I could do it. But one of the guys there gave me a ride home, and by the time I got home, my legs were purple, turning black, and I thanked the guy. I said, I'll give you $100. He says, no, that's okay. So okay. So I went inside, got into bed, and warmed my legs up. So that was the story, and that's how I saw the alien that day. He was, because I was thinking I was going to die. I thought I was going to die, and then he popped up. And he was saying to me, no, come on, keep walking. That's my alien story. The 4th time I met him or saw him.
Oh, that is awesome. That is awesome. So we'll get you next time to continue on that. So I appreciate you, Jim, coming on tonight. And I appreciate you also, Magneticus, for joining, and enjoyed you guys' conversation. Regarding science. It was just magnificent to sit back and listen to you guys go back and forth. So hopefully we get some more of that in the future. But I want to wish you guys have a great week and have a great rest of your night too.
Thanks, Rob. Yeah, I'd like to talk some more science.
Definitely.
Okay. See ya.
Take care.
See ya. Bye-bye.
All right, Magneticus. And actually, before we go, if there's anybody out there, I know we have a lot of people in chat and then some people watching. So hopefully, I'm just wondering if you haven't subscribed, guys, if you're out there, you're considering subscribing. I'd love it if you went ahead and hit that subscribe button. We're so close to 300 subs here. We'd love to hit that and continue going and continue having these conversations and just have a great place for people to come, get enlightenment, and try to help push and move the needle forward. Magneticus, I'm about to wrap the show up. I don't know if you can hear me, but I'm about to shut it down, and I appreciate you coming in, man. You have a great rest of your night, too.
All right, man. Catch you next time.
Yes, sir. We will do it again. Okay, so obviously at this point the camera is gone, so I'm just going to go ahead and get us up out of here. So I definitely want to thank you guys for coming in. I'm going to go ahead and bring this up on the screen because it's one of the most important parts of the show, where we talk about why we do this, right? So we do this for the positive progression of humanity. Totally appreciate it. We got a phone call. We're just going to...
Call from...
Have a good night.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail.
Derek Galloway trolling. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for calling in, Derek. At least you did that. But once again, we do this for the positive progression of humanity. Anything to help move the needle forward. Hopefully we can continue having these conversations, and sometimes it's going to be just conversations about life. Sometimes it's going to be conversations about ETs and the situation that we're in right now, and the realization of how important this moment is in time, and how what we do, what we affect. I heard you, Derek. I heard you on there. But you called at the last minute, man. We're wrapping the show up, so let's do it next time. But so let's move the needle forward. Let's go out, man, and just put good energy out there in the world, and try to facilitate a good situation for our children and grandchildren, great-grandchildren in the world that they are going to inhabit, because we'll be gone at some point here, and they'll be here, and they'll be left either with some of the great work that we did for them to get them to set them up for having a great experience going forward, as far as the level of enlightenment that they will receive and be able to take advantage of. So that somebody asked me earlier why what would make my day, or what would make what would make it all good for me in this life, and that's kind of what it would be. So hopefully we can keep doing this, and I really appreciate everybody who came through. The chat was cracking tonight, so I can't get to everybody, but I want to thank you all for coming through, and I really appreciate you. We will get together again next weekend on the social, on After Hours, and obviously back here on the Social Dig. Next week, I think we have it confirmed. One of our very own is going to be joining us as a guest on Saturday, and that's going to be none other than Mr. Eugene Braxton. So Eugene has already been a guest on Space Out Radio, but we're going to sit down and have a great conversation about the afterlife and near-death experiences. So make sure you guys tune in. Other than that, I just want to thank you guys all once again for coming in, playing a part in this movement and what we're doing. You guys have a great rest of your night. Take care, and share this. Let somebody else know what we're doing here, and maybe they can come in and talk too. Have a great rest of your night. You guys take care.